It is 5 o'clock,
I don't know who this one.
Monday, August 13th, 2018. I'm calling to order a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District, meeting being held today in the boardroom of the Administration Building located at 2000 North 23rd Street. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action by the board on items and subjects listed as follows. Items on this agenda may be taken in order other than shown on this agenda. The regular business portion of the meeting for the public will begin at approximately 6 p.m. with item number 3. First order of business would be to go into closed session. A recess to closed session is authorized pursuant to sections 551-071, 551-.074 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following items: human resource recommendations for the school year 2018-2019, human resource employee resignations for the school year 2017-2018, human resource employee resignations for the school year 2018-2019, a report regarding security audit number 17-18-015, any pending and/or potential litigation, and any possible real estate acquisitions. So at 5:02 p.m., we are going into closed session, and if there is no objection, we will take the report by the auditor first. So I'll ask all personnel who are pertinent to that report to please stay, and all others, if you would leave us in closed session, I'd appreciate it.
Tony's trying to call in, he says no.
Gentlemen, it is 6:04, and we're reconvening a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. I'd like to welcome all audience members in the room, as well as those watching over their devices or their computers. It is now 6:04 p.m. We are reconvened. For the record, no action was taken by the board in closed session. Next order of business would be the invocation, followed by the pledge. And if I could have Mr. Alvarado do the invocation, and Mr. Suarez will do the pledge.
Okay. Please join me. Bow your head, please. Almighty God, we come together today for the good of our children in our schools. Give us your wisdom as we make decisions that will affect them today and the years to come. Help us to work well together, recognizing that each of us, parents, educators, and community representatives, are here because we love children and we want what is best for them. We ask for your blessings and your guidance. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Next item on today's agenda would be the superintendent's report. I'll turn it over to Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I did want to mention before I get into my report that I wanted to congratulate the business department. We got a perfect score on the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Round of applause for our assistant superintendent, chief financial officer, all those on the finance side. Congratulations and thank you for all the hard work. And this is our 7th year in a row. Is that correct, Lorena? So we're very, very proud of that, and we will continue to be responsible and good stewards of the public's dollars. This past summer also, we sent more than 20 teachers and administrators to Chicago. They attended the International Society for Technology and Education, and they brought all these lessons back, and they shared them with educators during our professional learning communities, also during Technovate and during staff training. So we're very proud of all of those that went out and learned and came back and shared their knowledge. And we do have a short video that was produced by our District Technology of the Year teacher, Juan Ozuna from Memorial High School. We'd like to share that with you.
The thing about technology is, it's not new. By its definition, technology, as the application of knowledge to advance growth, has existed since the dawn of time. It's how we, as humans, have advanced, have evolved, have grown. The wheel, the printing press, the space shuttle, these were all cutting-edge technology at some point. The only difference now is that most of our technology is digital, and most importantly, accessible. We are surrounded by the incredible achievements we have made through technology. So we are on our way to explore all of these new, incredible ways that technology can enhance what we, the teachers of Memorial High School, can do with our young learners. The International Society for Technology and Education Conference is at the cutting edge of all the new ways technology is changing our classrooms. So we're going to go see what we can learn and bring back home. So we are here at the... Hold on. I make a huge mistake here. It's actually the International Society for Technology and Education Conference. I'm super sorry I made that mistake. International Science and Technology and Education Conference in Chicago to check out all of the amazing new apps and electronics and toys and technology that we can use in our classrooms to help our students learn in new and innovative ways. There are tons of people here. It's extremely exciting, as you can see, and I'm looking forward to all the cool stuff that we're going to check out here.
We have teachers here learning about instructional technology, how to improve their teaching practices, find strategies in their content area to help them bring technology, infuse technology into lessons and make it relevant for students and make it engaging for them as well.
And we are now connected through technology in previously inconceivable ways. In no place is this more evident or exciting than in the classroom. As a tool of communication, connection, and information, technology, as we think of it today, has blown open the classroom. The internet, media, photos, video production, apps. Technology has not only given us more tools than we ever thought possible to learn, but has democratized learning in incredible ways. We're gathering and sharing and compiling information in real time, and now we can learn in whatever way we want. Want to start researching something? There are a billion links to read through. Want to watch someone rebuild an engine? Tons of online videos. Trying to remember those lyrics to that obscure song from your childhood? Someone's already typed them out. So the really cool thing about IST is that there are major companies here like Apple, like Google, like Samsung, who are promoting a lot of their new technologies for the classroom. They're holding sessions for teachers to show them how to use this new technology that they got, and so you get to kind of learn firsthand about how to use these amazing new products in your room.
You know, one thing I learned right now is that you need to let people be creative, especially your staff members, to bring the best out of themselves and bring it to the kids because it empowers people.
I learned that there are things that you can use on the computer to actually get surveys from your staff to find out what professional development would actually be functional and awesome for your staff, so there's more input.
All sorts of new Google add-ons and pro tips, so students and maybe fellow teachers, that's it. Have fun with that.
Well, the last session that Mr. Castillo and I attended actually talked about partnerships. So I think that's a key element that sometimes we underplay in the Valley. We have so many businesses, we have so many parents that are willing to collaborate with us, that are willing to help us, and sometimes we don't tap into the resources that we have.
We have had an awesome time this week exploring not only the great city of Chicago, but all of the incredible and innovative ways that we can use technology to enhance our classrooms. I've learned that while technology itself is not new, there are still many new, cool ways to implement it in my classroom. I can't wait to show you guys all the cool stuff we'll be doing next year.
Thank you for the time, and once again, thank you to all those staff members that went to Chicago because they came back and did some great stuff. So we're looking forward to seeing all the innovation in our classrooms and expanding this year.
I read somewhere that we should turn the brain into an app so that more people would use it. Sounds like a good deal to me. There you go. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. You're welcome. Next order on the agenda, next item on the agenda is board member committee reports.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to bring up item D3, to reorganize the meeting.
Second. All those in favor of reorganizing the meeting? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. So we are bringing up item number, which one is it?
D3.
D3?
Oh, I heard B3.
D as in dog.
Oh, okay.
Donation.
D, A3?
Approval of the monetary donation
there's
from
no A.
Leonardo H.
D3.
Gonzalez Elementary
D.
PTO.
D3.
B3, right?
Yeah,
The
D3.
taxes.
No.
No, D3.
D3. Approval monetary donation.
Yes.
Page 503. All right. We will be addressing approval of monetary donation. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The PTO at Gonzales has raised $85,000 and is donating the fund for construction of an ornamental fence, and we thank them for their efforts, and we are requesting action on this item.
And Mr. Suarez meant to say 9D3.
No, I didn't.
She should have.
No, I shouldn't have. Not according to my paperwork.
I
Move that we approve the monetary donation
I'll second.
from Leonel H. Gonzalez Elementary School, parent-teacher organization, to Leonel H. Gonzalez Elementary School.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar and seconded by trustee Alvarado. Any discussion on the item?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
There was a, I don't know who's handling this. There was a drawing or a diagram attached to the agenda, but it didn't really say where the fence, are they replacing the fence that's there, or is it a new fence going up somewhere? Or- Ruben, can you explain? Because I didn't see any, I saw, that's the diagram they gave us, but it doesn't say, I couldn't tell on
It's a
mine whether.
replacement fence.
That's the replacement.
What the preliminary plans are for now, and what's being proposed is to replace the existing fence that is currently there.
Which goes down Martin, down Second, and then around the
Down
back?
Second Street, around that entrance for the city school park, and then back down towards Martin, coming back towards the front of the school, and then it'll turn north towards the southwest corner of the building, and then along the north side, where we have the smaller entrance to the playground area,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll connect it back towards the cafeteria.
And all the way, on the north side, all the way from the school towards Second Street too? Isn't there a fence there, or there's not, it's not fence? It's not? Okay, okay. What will it look like? It'll be an ornamental fence, but what
It'll
exactly
be,
is it gonna look like?
The final design is still being worked on by the PTO and by the representatives, but it will include some concrete columns, and it'll be the same ornamental design that we have at the high school.
Where?
At the high school in front,
Or kind of like, what's that, Milo?
Milo.
or Milan, yes.
Okay. And
Since-
that, I'm sorry, that donation is enough to cover the whole cost of all of that?
That is gonna be for phase one. Once the bids go out and we procure it, we'll make the adjustments for phase one and phase two.
So phase one would be what part again?
Phase one is we're looking at the part that will cover the park area,
Okay,
which is the Second and Martin.
Yeah.
okay. All right.
I'm
Mr.
just
President?
curious. I'm sorry.
Yes, Mr. Trustee Saldivar.
Thank you. You may mention that it was going to be similar to the one at Milan. I thought the one at Milan was wrought iron, and the ones that we put at the high school were of a different material.
It's the exact same style, except for the one at Milan, we have a decorative concrete column with a brick about every 15 feet, 20 feet or so.
So when you make reference to Milan, you're really mentioning the style, but the materials are different and the columns are different.
Yes.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Trustee Fourier.
Considering that it's a city-school district partnership, do we have our ducks in a row with the city, and have we gotten their blessing on the fencing?
I believe the PTO representative approached the city and the fundraising group. There was no funding, I guess, available on the city side to match or help out with. So they're taking it upon themselves, and this is just replacing what we have existing with chain link and coming in with a decorative fence.
If I can piggyback.
Go ahead, sir.
Is, we own the land and the fence, the maintenance of it, right? So do we need their permission to do it?
The city provides the maintenance only for the park area.
The park area?
Yes.
And
The
this
rest
is,
of the school, we provide all the maintenance.
this is going around the park though?
Yes.
So who owns that land? I wasn't here when we made it, still
There's
us?
an agreement right now in place that was put on many years ago.
Right.
That included several parks, which was Jackson.
Right. But do we own that land?
Yes.
Okay, so it's our property.
Do we own that fence? Who put that fence up? We did or the city did?
We'd have to go back and check.
And I'm just, again, on their question, do we have the authority to take it down? I mean, I know it's on our property, but
Right.
I know that Mr. Michael Hernandez was approached about it, and they said that everything was fine. We can go back and check again.
just get it in writing. Might be a good idea.
Yeah.
One
She didn't
comment.
know. I asked her.
I do think that needs to be run through the city attorney's office to make sure we don't set it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as whose fence it is, and do we have the authority to
Yeah.
take it down and so forth.
Correct.
Yeah, it just,
Just to be safe.
have an agreement, something written, something in writing, I think, from them saying they're good to go with it.
We'll prepare all that and bring it back.
If you'll contact my office, give me the paperwork, I'll run it through the city attorney's office.
Can we rework the motion pending the blessing of the legal department for City of McAllen?
I would just say pending any concerns of the legal department of the city of McAllen.
Trustee Saldana?
Yes, sir.
Trustee Alvarado?
Yes.
All right, any further questions or discussions on the item? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
As amended.
Thank you, and thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Appreciate y'all's efforts. Good job.
Do we have?
Mr.
appeals?
President?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to reorganize the meeting and bring up 7B1,
7B1.
7B2, 7B3.
Is there a second to Mr. Suarez?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
That's it.
Motion carries 7-0.
Do we have anybody from Fields? Fields, 7B2.
Ms. Salazar? Or you feel most comfortable? I'm sorry, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Ms. Kelly Salazar from the firm Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson LLP will present the delinquent tax collection report for April 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2018, including the annual report for the 2017-2018 school year. They will also present the 2017 property value study report, and this item is for information only. Ms. Salazar, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, President Vela, and trustees. Kelly Salazar on behalf of Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, Sampson to present the fourth quarter report, which incorporates the property value study summary as well. This is the report from April 1st through June 30th, 2018. As always, our delinquent tax collection program on behalf of McAllen ISD focuses on two basic premises. The first is to work with the individual taxpayer first to collect the delinquent amounts owed, and secondly, to use the tool of litigation only as a final option to collect. During this quarter, we conducted one demand mailing over 1,000 statements, representing over $883,000 in base tax and penalty and interest. We made over 973 phone calls to delinquent taxpayers. We had over 330 individuals walk in to any one of our 4 locations in Hidalgo County, including one down the street on McCall and our newest location on North 10th in Edinburgh, but it's on North 10th. It's on the Edinburgh side. Over 183 payoff requests, and we knocked on over 137 doors, educating, informing, and requesting taxpayers to engage in a payment agreement to resolve their debt. Regarding litigation, we have filed 32 lawsuits, disposed of 36 lawsuits. Pending litigation as of July 2018, we have 325 pending suits involving McAllen ISD. We regularly conduct tax sales and resales on accounts if there is little to no effort to resolve the tax debt. During this quarter, we completed one tax sale, placing 8 properties for sale. 3 of those sold. 2 were paid prior to sale due to payment, and 2 were also pulled due to a payment agreement being met. Regarding this quarter's collection highlights, you'll note the collections are up this quarter compared to last quarter this time. We collected over $338,000 in base tax, over $132,000 in penalty and interest, for total collections this quarter only of $471,326. Year-to-date collections, also up compared to last year. We collected over $2.2 million in base tax alone, over $632,000 in penalty and interest, for total collections of over $2.8 million for McAllen ISD. Our percentage was also increased compared to last year-to-date collections, a collection percentage of 34.47%, exceeding the benchmark set by the district. Regarding our property value study, our firm has resolved the 2017 property value self-report appeal. The appeal resulted in over $69 billion value reduction. This will result in over $1 million in additional state aid to the district.
Wow.
Looking forward to the future, we will continue to monitor active litigation and mark those cases and pursue those cases with, again, little to no effort to pay on behalf of the delinquent taxpayer. We represent the district in all delinquent accounts involving, all bankruptcy accounts involving delinquent taxpayers in the district, and do our best to advocate on behalf of the district to resolve those and get payment as ordered by the bankruptcy court. We will continue our mailing program for July and August and conduct property sales as needed. That concludes my fourth quarter report to the district. I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Kelly, how are you? I was looking at page 5 of your report, where I guess it gives the year-to-date collections. The adjusted delinquent tax roll was 6.4 million approximately, correct?
That's correct.
And so of that, you collected 2.2, so that leaves approximately a little over $4 million still pending. Is that correct?
The DTR adjusts from month to month depending on what's available and what gets turned over to us. So as of June, that was the DTR, and that was the percentage collected.
Again, my question is, we turned over 6.4 million, correct? Adjusted delinquent tax roll? Based on what your graph shows there.
That's the amount of money that our firm has to collect on behalf of the district.
Okay. And out of that, you've collected approximately 2.2 million?
That's correct.
So at least a little over 4 million still out there pending, correct?
That's right.
Okay. What efforts will be done to collect that remaining $4.2 million?
That's an excellent question. It goes back to kind of what I reported on. We will knock on doors, we will make phone calls, engage in mailings, and engage in litigation, and anything possible to make sure all amounts that are collectible will be sought out and collected by the delinquent taxpayer.
Okay. And of those $4.2 million, do you have, because I know in the past, I think last year or maybe it was the year before, they basically scrubbed a bunch of accounts. Do you anticipate scrubbing some of those accounts, or do you have any idea?
Every year, the tax office will, what you refer to as scrubbing.
I can't remember the correct, purge, there you go, that's the term,
It
yeah.
goes to an uncollectible roll.
Okay.
Which, just so the terminology is correct, once something is, an account is moved to an uncollectible roll, that account isn't erased or deleted, it's still delinquent, but it's something that the tax office has determined is not able to be collected. For instance, a business that's closed down. You're not gonna be able to, it's gonna be very difficult to collect from a business that's closed down, left the area. So those accounts be earmarked as onto an uncollectible roll. I can't predict what the tax office will assess to be something that should be placed on an uncollectible roll, or the amount of it. It varies from year to year.
So of that $4.2 million, you all don't give any recommendation to the tax department as to purging, what accounts to purge?
We do.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. Do you have any idea at this point of that $4.2 million, how much of that would, of those accounts would be purged? Do you have any idea at this point?
I haven't analyzed the uncollectible roll as of yet. We usually do it around the same time every year. We will supply accounts to the tax office. Sometimes we don't supply any, and they'll do their own purge depending on the timing and the communication between ourselves and the tax office.
Well, I know last time, and I don't know if he's here today, Paul Villarreal, our tax collector, said it was right around this time or August, I think, when they do it. So at this point, you don't have any plans or that you know of to purge any of those accounts?
Not that I'm aware of. Not
Okay.
that I'm aware. I haven't started reviewing an uncollectible roll recently.
Okay, well, if that is done, will you provide us that information?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And if I might,
Please.
one more thing. I also made sure to provide that and inform the board of the purge last year. I just want to be clear that the amounts were provided in the detail. I don't want there to be any kind of feeling on your part that you weren't provided that.
No, I'm not saying that, I remember last time it was done, the purge was done prior to when it's normally done. I believe that's what Mr. Villarreal said. It was done before you finished the fourth quarter. And when he came up at that last time, he said it's normally done after the year is closed. So I thought maybe you'd had some insight as to when that will be done, but you're saying you don't.
Mr. Villarreal and I have not communicated regarding
Okay.
the purge.
On that item, you don't purge every year, though.
A purge is,
Well, wait,
tax
okay, I'm
office-
sorry, the tax office doesn't purge every year, do they?
Sometimes the tax office does it, I don't know their timing, and I don't want to represent that, misrepresent what they do. But, you know, like with any business, if you have an old account sitting on your books, you like to remove it for accounting purposes. I'm not a business major, but, so it's customary.
All right, thank you. Trustee Suarez.
But you were truly Northern Virginia.
Yes, Captain.
Captain Truly Northern Virginia. Rudy and
What
I-
year?
Rudy and I go way back. Let's talk a little bit about the purging. If I'm understanding this correctly, it's the local tax office that determines whether or not they're purged or not, right?
That's right, they're permitted by statute to do that.
Okay, now, do you submit a list that you recommend be, or is it totally up to them?
It's totally up to them.
So you have no control of who's purged, who isn't?
The Hidalgo County Tax Office controls their own tax roll. I don't control it.
Okay. That's it.
All right. Mr. President. Trustee Saldivar.
Thank you, sir. Whenever we hand over the delinquent part, our taxpayers could go directly to the tax collection office, and they will also be able to pay, whether delinquent or not, directly to the tax office as well. So it's in collaboration with your efforts, but they can also initiate and are collecting from the tax office as well. So the figures you give us are a combination of however they may have paid those taxes owed.
That's true. The law was changed within the past several years regarding homestead payment arrangements to make it more accessible to delinquent taxpayers who have a difficulty meeting the requirements of private firms' payment arrangements. So if they have a delinquent payment arrangement with the tax office called homestead payment arrangements,
Right.
those are delinquent payments as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Anyone else, questions or comments? Ms. Salazar, thank you, appreciate your report. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. I'm going to exercise the executive privilege. Mr. Villarreal is not here yet for item 7B2, so we will go to item number 3, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Ms. Garcia will report on the monthly taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Office on behalf of McAllen ISD for June 2018, and this item is for information purposes only. Ms. Garcia?
Said 7B1, no?
Yeah. I'll say make it use. 91.
This is right, 91.
Here we go. The report regarding the taxes collected for the June 2018 period includes an amount collected of $564,392.78. terms of the comparison to the year-to-date totals,
Ms. Garcia, what report are you looking at? Is that the one on page 16?
48.
Oh, 48, okay, I'm sorry.
page number. I can put it on the screen, sir, for you to see it. And this report comes to us from the Hidalgo County Tax Assessor Collector. The percentages in compared to the prior year collections for the same period for the county are at 96.49, which is above the 96% that we benchmark our budget for. And then in terms of delinquent collections, the total collected for the year is 34.47, of course, while the benchmark set for that for budget purposes was 33%. So both entities have exceeded the collection benchmark set that we guide ourselves by. And that concludes the report.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the report? Again, thank you. Thank you. D2, Mr. Villarreal is still not here.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to move item 9D as in Delta 1 up on the agenda, please.
Is there a second?
Juaniva's Delta, second.
It's been moved and second that we move item number 9D as in Delta 1 up as our next item. And I believe that's the city with the retention pond.
Yes.
If y'all would come forward, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Ms. Garcia will introduce our guests that are here to present the plans and specifications for the construction of this project, and we will be requesting action on this item. I'll turn it over to Ms. Garcia at this point.
Thank you. Ms. Yvette Barrera is here with us today, city engineer, and also we have Mr. Ruben Trevino, our executive director for facilities maintenance operation, and the district has been meeting over a series of meetings and looking at various options that have been proposed by the city. In addition to that, the district has provided other suggestions as well. City has taken that into consideration, and the district and the city have agreed to review two recommendations, one that is being recommended by city officials and another alternate that was suggested at the prior board meeting. So Ms. Barrera will introduce us to the details of the two, and I will go ahead and put those on the screen for you all.
Ms. Barrera, welcome again.
Thank you. So we have been reviewing the options that we had previously presented, and we actually have worked out 4, but I think we've narrowed it down to 2, and one of them could be a little bit varied. So the option that I am recommending, the option that I'm recommending is option 1. And so basically what we did with that option is one of the original options that we had submitted before you. We made some modifications to include a driveway. We're allowing for the city's maximum driveway width, 445 feet, entrance into the property. So we'll have a pipe basically underneath that location connecting the 2 swales or detention areas. This meets the detention or volume requirements that we had presented for the grant, approximately 7,200 cubic yards of volume for that area. And we were able to go through and look at this, and I know there were some questions as if this area could be modified in the future, if there are additional drives from the west or from another location. Yes, it can, as long as that volume is offset somewhere in that vicinity and connects to this area. The other option that we evaluated, that the board asked us to go back and look at, actually puts the detention area further up north. We submitted that as option 3, I believe. That area up north, we went back, my staff went back, took a look at it, and determined that that can work. Hydraulically, it does work. And so if the board so chooses to select that location, we don't have an objection. However, there are some drawbacks to that location. We have to extend pipe up to the pond, and so we would require easements so that those pipes aren't removed in the future. So that would put a little bit of encumbrance on the property. At those locations where those easements are located, buildings would not be allowed to be placed over the easements. You can park it, you can put maybe a grassy area, not a tree, but you could use it such as parking purposes over that that is one drawback. The other, as I explained to your staff, is that that area drains to the south, so if there are issues with the pond, such as the rain event that we had, just being over capacity, water would drain to the south, so whatever building is in that area, water would drain towards the common in that area. But if that is the option that the school board selects, we can make that work. So I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Barrera. Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Suarez.
Can we go back to option A?
Option one, I think.
Well, option one. I was gonna say as an apple, just so that anybody confused.
How about one is in McAllen?
One is, yeah, there you go. All right, so hypothetically, I'm gonna pretend I'm a businessman for a second, and this is my property. And part of the reason, the discussion that we had last time was doing this actually enhances the value of our property. So if I sell this property now and I were to build a 3-story, 4-story building for educational purposes, how much additional retention pond will I, as a builder, be required to put?
Right, so I don't have that volume calculation for you. It really would depend how much of that area is not only gonna have a building, but parking that might be required. How much of that is gonna be.
Well, I think that the more direct question is, how is this gonna add value to my property?
The property under normal conditions floods, that area floods anyway, and so we'd be able to hold that water within this detention area versus holding it at that intersection of Pecan and 27.
I'm not drilling you, I'm just asking these questions because I'm not familiar with how drainage systems work. But prior to this, we weren't getting water sucked into it. We were just getting the water that would overlay. Now we have pipes that are bringing water into those retention ponds. Am I correct?
Yes, we are
So-
taking water off of the street.
Right.
And instead of holding it in the intersection where children are crossing or where
Right.
cars are waiting to turn, it's being held in those ponds.
Right, so now we have additional water coming into this property.
You have water that was in the street being displaced into this detention area.
Okay, so again, my question is, part of the reason why we would want to do this, in our sake, because we're putting up our land, we're not paying for the infrastructure, but there was a grant that was given, so now I'm thinking as a business person, if I were not to do this, and the city would require me to put my own detention ponds, or the builder, what would they require? How much would that cost?
It really varies. It would be smaller than this, I can say that. It would definitely be much smaller than this because our requirements aren't as large as this is required.
Okay, so now let's go back to the sale of the property. I sell the piece of property, we're building an infrastructure there with the parking lot. Is the builder allowed to tie into those ponds? If he does additional ponds, can he access those ponds?
The builder can tie into the ponds, however, he would have to over-excavate to have or hold his amount of volume that he's required to.
Okay. Can I ask our on-call engineer to come up, please? Mr. Hinojosa, thank you for being here. I have a question, being you being our engineer, if I'm the owner, if we're the owner of this piece of property and the city is recommending to do this, as the owner of the property, is it to my benefit to have these retention ponds put on the property if in the future I'm willing or wanting to sell this or build on top of it? In terms of an engineer,
In terms of the option presented to you?
yes, sir.
I would assume that this option is more beneficial to the district than the option closer to the building.
But is it better to have this versus nothing and letting the developer do his own ponds? Or would you recommend going this route?
Well, you go this route, but the developer's still gonna have to enhance the ponds.
And that's what I'm worried about. Okay, so let me ask you this in terms of an engineer, you do this a lot. How is it to my benefit to give up that land? How do I, as a property owner, benefit from giving up that land?
I guess the way the city is saying, the benefit is you no longer have the drainage problems on 495 and at the intersection.
Okay.
So you can access the property, east and west.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I still have.
During this last rain event, they had the whole road way closer.
No problem. I still have two more questions for the city. Okay, I guess this leads to what Mr. Hinojosa was saying. That dirt that will be taken out, does that dirt belong to us or does it belong to the city?
It could be worked in a manner where some of the dirt could be spread on the site. So for us, and I actually had my staff go back and run those numbers as far as what is the cost difference of hauling versus keeping it on site and spreading it on the site. In order for us to be about more or less even with the cost so that we don't have any additional costs, we'd be able to spread approximately 3,900 cubic yards on site.
Okay, that's Chinese to me.
That averages to about 8 inches of dirt over the site that's left.
Entire length of it.
Right.
And so there is, you would say, why can't we spread all of it? If we do, you're looking at like 15 to 18 inches, which is quite a significant amount of dirt, especially because you don't know what's going to go there.
Well, according to what our engineer had told us last time, he would recommend anyone that would make that kind of investment to put a building there to elevate it anywhere from 2 to 3 feet.
Okay, so you might also want to consider some of
Sure.
the drainage that's coming from the north to the
Okay.
south.
I got you.
But before he does, I would like to offer that in order for our costs to break even, because there is an additional cost that we need to pay. It's not just spreading the dirt. We have certain requirements through TCQ that we need to meet, and so we have to make sure that it's seeded before we leave the site. So we have to provide seeding and watering, so that's an additional cost. To break even, that would be the amount for us to break even, approximately 8 inches.
Okay.
The one thing I just wanted to mention was typically the dirt that you're going to be excavating will not be utilized for building.
Oh, okay.
Actual building.
Right. Trustee Alvarado, sorry, you finished?
Mr. Crane, before I ask this question, I want to make sure, there is an email that we received, from the city. Our city manager asked us to look into it, but also another email came from another entity's expressed interest in that land. Can I discuss who it is?
Yes, it's on acquisition,
Okay.
as long as you're not violating privacy issues of the other entity.
Well, it's going to be open to record. Someone asked for it, so I sent that email in anyway. Dr. Gonzalez, how'd the meeting go with STC? Because they expressed interest in this land as well.
We had a good meeting with Dr. Reed, but there wasn't anything definite with regard to them being
No, and I wouldn't
interested.
expect it, but they would be interested in this property?
She had to get back with her board to
Okay.
ask questions.
If,
so-
if, did they get a chance to see this option?
Yes, sir.
And they were fine with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I don't know who to ask this question. Normally, I guess I would say Dr. Butta being our assistant, but he's not here. So it had to be
Orlando or
Ms.
myself.
Garcia. I asked at last meeting what the property value was, and if we don't have it, that's fine. But my question is, if we do it this way, do we have any idea if it detracts from that amount?
No, at this time, we don't have the.
That answer.
Appraisal for it. It takes about a month and a half to get that information.
Okay, that makes sense. And I guess just my only other comment is, last time when I was aboard 10 years ago, we discussed doing something with this property. It's been 10 years since then, we haven't. We got to do something. I think the city and us, we got to work together. It's the same taxpayer. There is an issue there. I'm for it as long as it doesn't take away the value of the property, and I don't think that does, because either way, something's going to have to be done in that area. So that's all I have.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarado. Yes, sir.
Yes, I move that we approve the plan as it's being presented, option 1.
Second.
I still have discussion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and opened up for continued discussion. Trustee Aliceda.
So I thank you to the city for, my problem with the whole time on this was the ingress and the egress from Pecan. My feeling was that it's commercial property, and that if you were to dig that big ditch in there and cut us off on Pecan, there would be no value to the property. And the property, like 10 years ago, was valued at, if it's like $4 a square foot, and it's 4 acres, it's about $888,000 for the property. So it's very valuable property. But in talking to STC and looking at all what they need, this actually is a better fit because the city has now made it more narrow and deeper, and they've given us that 45-inch driveway now, so we can have the ingress and egress off of Pecan. So if we move the tennis courts on our nickel, not on, eventually if a developer wanted to come in, now we have a much larger area that we could sell to a commercial developer or STC, and STC could take over the entire campus maybe in the future someday too. So I was stuck on option 4. I was dead set on it until they gave us that opening there. And then now I think we have more flexibility by moving the tennis court. We now have a much larger area to sell off commercial or to sell to STC the entire strip thing. So I've changed my opinion. Thank you for working with us. I do have a question though on the hauling. Where do you haul the rest of the dirt? If you're only going to give us the 8 inches and we could have 15 to 18, what are you doing with the rest of the dirt?
It's a contractor's responsibility to dispose of it, so they will either work with somebody to take the dirt, or they'll find a place that they're gonna haul it.
But dirt has a value. So if they're going to haul it off, can't they drop it on one of our properties and we'll use it as we need? I mean, technically that does have a value, so why are we giving that away unless that contractor wants to buy the dirt from us or they want to, you know what I mean? Like that.
So, normally what we see when we look at these costs, it's not so much that the dirt has a value, but the cost that you see with it is significant in the hauling costs.
Right.
So that's where you see the large cost. So if you're moving dirt to one location, and let's say they drop it off at some site, and you're gonna have to move it in the future to somewhere else, here.
But
Your
that would.
cost sometimes, like you're moving dirt twice,
Right.
your cost double. If you want it at a certain location, and if we can work it out within a certain mile radius for hauling, so that it doesn't increase the cost of the project for hauling, we could probably look at that. So what normally contractors will do is they'll call around and they'll ask if people are needing dirt.
Right.
And so if you do have a location and it's within that certain radius that they're looking to haul, they can dispose of it.
Well, I would say that for me, one of the things is we get the dirt back, and y'all can work that out, the logistics of it later, with Mr. Trevino on where to put the dirt exactly. But to me, the dirt has value. And then the other thing, what does the fence look like? Were you able to come up with something better than there's the silver chain link fence, or is that the best the city can do on that? Because
So we went back to look at whether we could do like a vinyl coated green or black fence. The cost is a little bit higher. Using that, more or less that 8 inches of fill, we can be within cost would be approximately $1,800 over in our cost. But we can adjust that hauling and placement of dirt to get us to zero. We can work with it.
So then, yes, you can give us a better fence than a chain link fence. So I would say, if I could amend the motion to where as long as the contract says that we get a better fence than chain link fence and that we get to retain our dirt, and depending on where you want to put the rest of it, 8 inches, the rest of it, if that was okay, or do you even need to amend the motion, or is that
But
just?
he has to improve it.
May I ask for a clarification? I understood that the meeting today was for the location?
For the location,
Because
yes.
it was approved at a
Yeah,
previous
the
meeting.
final
We
thing
can
you
certainly
made.
add in the fence, but I don't understand the portion about revising it.
I guess that's illegal. That's to you.
It's my understanding that they still have to bring it back for the final approval, right?
This is the final
This-
approval.
This is a final
The
approval.
location.
We're deciding on where to locate it, whether to go up north or go along Pecan.
Just for the record, I don't have any problem with the amendment, just, if it's allowed.
Trustee Farina.
I'll second that.
Well, I think the only question is, that's open, that might cause the city some heartburn, is we have not identified other campus locations where you want the dirt. I think their concern is the radius from this particular location of hauling the dirt to another location, because that radius is what affects the cost, as far as the city is concerned, about disposing of the dirt.
Well,
Is that correct?
Yeah, I would be okay actually in coordinating, as long as, I'm gonna have to go back and just, because we assign a certain value for that hauling, and this, we go back and take a look at
Can we
what,
just do the fence?
distance that'll get us, and so. we
Dirt's
can
very
remain
valuable.
within that
They're gonna
range.
sell it
Should be
off.
okay.
So I think the answer to the question
It's
is
still valuable.
it can be hauled to another campus as long as it's within the city's radius of what they've already designated budget for.
There you go, that'll work.
There is an option. There's been discussion for athletics to have a mountain, and I know at Roe they want to have one, and they have that spare, that all the school districts
There you
could
go.
use, so that could be a compromise.
A what?
You know, or they want a little mountain to train, a little hill with
Like
dirt.
Memorial has one.
And if you can, Bro has that way field that be open to anybody, that might be something we
That's
can
close,
work on.
that's close proximity to that location.
3 blocks?
Yes.
Rome.
Over there by the,
It's right next
by the
door.
It's
practice
almost due
fields,
west.
towards the way end over there. Vietnam
Yeah.
field, yes. Known by the students, Vietnam, yes. That might be something we can look at,
We can take a look at it. I think that's close enough.
yeah.
We wouldn't have to compact anything, you just want it, you just deliver it there.
Yeah, I don't know what it would cost then to compact it. Mr. Thorino, would you
Just
know?
want to confirm that we don't have to do anything
Yeah,
else.
no,
Yeah,
I think that would be on us.
As far as having the dirt place there, you're talking about 7,200
Half of that. Half.
half of that.
What size is that compared to the one that the city has on Dove?
That's not the city's.
Oh, that's not the city's,
No,
but the one
that's
that's there.
private.
It's about that half of that,
No
or?
way.
No, not even.
Oh,
Not
no,
even
close.
no.
Not even close, it's like really small.
Yeah,
It's an anthill compared to that one.
Okay, okay.
So find somewhere else to work out, Ito.
And once a radius is established, then we can make a determination where it's needed. But I would assume that the radius would probably be pretty much covering the whole district, for any of the
Easy, Ms. Barrera.
Row, go to row.
So depending on the savings as well. One question I do have is, the entrance on 495, will that be already with a curb cut and set up, or it's just gonna be an imaginary?
Developers cost.
We're not, we did not discuss and we're not proposing the curb cut.
No.
We're leaving the opening for that, so it's clearly evident where that driveway would go, but we are not proposing to make that modification.
So with that being said, sorry,
have
real
a
quick,
question.
just to follow.
You done.
If TxDOT were to come, are we grandfathered in because that has been proposed as a driveway?
So, the city of McAllen issues driveway permits even on state roads. We have, basically, I think, the whole state of Texas who
Okay.
does that with TxDOT.
Okay.
And so we issue those permits.
Sorry, that's all I know.
Trustee Esparza.
Ruben, I know there was some issues regarding, or you had some concerns regarding drainage from the north side. Is that addressed using option 1? Was it addressed in any way?
One of the concerns was to catch some of the area by the gym, north of the gym area. And I think the agreement that was approved in the previous board meeting allows us to eventually create a swale or put any type of system to allow drainage into the drainage ponds.
Okay.
I think it was by pipe, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
The agreement discussed doing by underground pipe.
Okay. And I'm not sure if we're going to do this or not, but I know there was some discussion about putting maybe 8 inches of land there or dirt there. If that is the situation, raising that, will that cause water to flow back into the school? Or are we not doing that? I'm just wondering.
The elevation from 495 to the foundation of the school.
Runs southward, right?
About 2.5 to 3 feet difference, once you take that, those readings. So 8 inches is not gonna make a difference, not on the bottom.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
What was the motion?
The motion is that we take option 1 as being proposed, with the amendment that the city would put a black fence style similar to what's in other parts of the city, and would work with the school district to take the excess dirt, not spread at the site, to a location close to.
And I bring that up because she
Lincoln.
said they're not ready for a fence. That was not part of,
We discussed a chain link fence.
Yeah.
Coated, not,
Yeah.
Chain link coated.
Right.
Yeah.
okay.
Just not the silver chain.
Yeah, chain link
Lipstick on a
coated.
cake.
Either, it was black or green, I would, since all the district has black, that would be the suggestion.
Okay.
That's the amendment in the motion, if everybody agrees.
And the
Mr.
second
Bonilla?
agrees. That's correct, Mr. Marino?
Yes.
All right.
That was your amendment.
Thank you.
No more further discussion or questions. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
You-
Thank you.
Thank you.
doing it.
Appreciate the city's cooperation in this matter.
But do not appreciate the email, though.
Thank you, guys. We had already moved to reorg the agenda, and our guest Mr. Paul Villarreal is here, so if you would come forward, I'll turn it over to Dr. Gonzalez to introduce the item.
Yes, sir. Mr. Paul Villarreal, our tax assessor collector from Hidalgo County Tax Office, will present the annual tax collection for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017 and ending in June 30th, 2018. This item is for information purposes only, and welcome, Mr. Villarreal.
Thank you, thank you. Good to be here. Running a little late. But if you look at the first tab, I'm not sure how you have your report, but I do have it on the part one, right there. Tax collections, current, delinquent, and rollback taxes, total collected for 2017, 2018 from McAllen ISD is $82,233,998.49. Of course, we have the breakdown of disbursement, attorney fees, commissions, and costs, and the total disbursed was $82,233,998.49. If you go to part number two, it'll be part number two. Right there. Okay. Right here, if you look on the bolded side, it says current collections to date. Last year, base amount, we collected $75,418,303.44. This year's collections, base amount only, $78,258,611.32. We did collect over last year's base amount, $2.8 million. So I'm excited about that because, you know, our staff, they're out there every day looking to bring in the revenues for the school district, so I'm proud of that. Last year's percentage of collection was 96.31. This year's 96.49. We're 0.18 above last year, so I got to thank my staff again. And I always thank our taxpayers too, you know, because we work with them very closely, whether it be that they paid their amounts in full or they need to pay installments, and we're always trying to be working with them. The next is the 5-year comparison chart. In 2013, we had a 96.09%, 2014, 96.46, 2015, 96.43, 2016, 96.31, and 2017, 96.49. So I believe this is the highest percentage. If you look at the next page, if you can see that that's 100% of the pie, and we only have 3.51 out of 100%. So, like I said, I'm also very proud of what we do for the district, and McAllen School District is our highest collections in the whole county. So I'm proud of that too. If you go to part number 3, that's the delinquent tax attorneys. If you like, I can go over their collections too. Under delinquent collections today, last year they had $2,041,995.90. This year they have $2,213,783.80. They did collect $171,000 above last year. Last year's percentage was 34.30. This year's 34.47%. And the next page is also a comparison of all the 2012 to 2016. From 2012 they have a 31.96. If you go up to 2016, it's a 34.47%. So it looks like they did good for the district also. The next page, that's your on rollbacks collections. Last year on rollbacks collections was $349,281. This year was $266,000. So percentages are different from last year to this year. But if you in McAllen, there's not that many 40-acre tracts anymore, so it's harder to collect rollback. But I guess it's good for the whole city and the school district. And the other tab is just reports that follow through. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to.
Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Esparza.
Good evening, Paul. How are you?
Doing great, thank you.
Good to see you here. Paul, I had a couple of questions regarding the, I guess that report, on ours, it's page 35, the delinquent tax collection, I guess the tax attorney's collections. And, I just lost the page. They were here earlier, and there was some questions, or I had some questions regarding, the purging of accounts. When is that normally done, and under whose authority is that done?
Normally, we do that every year. the property tax code allows us to do that, to go ahead and purge. Of course, there's you can keep it in the roll and you can say that there's so much delinquent out there, but if you have, accounts that are maybe, uncollectibles, normally, we're allowed to do that as far as the property tax code allows us to do.
Okay, and that's under your authority, or you alone, or with the cooperation with the tax attorneys?
Well, in cooperation with the tax attorneys, because we need to find out from them on which accounts are uncollectible. So once they give us a list of that, we can go in there and purge it.
So they provide you that information?
They can give us that information, or we can do it ourselves. We do have a process that we purge every year.
Right.
On real estate, there's 20 years. On personal property, there's like 10 years. But anything that's hot, before it wasn't done, so you could have had so much delinquency out there. But now what we're trying to do, and I think that delinquent tax attorneys are using, any attorney that works in this county that I work with, they've been using that strategy to make sure that we clean up something that's uncollectible. So
right.
I think it's something that we actually, if they're contracted by a city or school district, and they come forward to me that they're saying, this is something that's uncollectible, then I'll work with them and we'll purge.
Okay. And so looking at your report, 215 and prior outstanding was $3.9 million, and then 216 and prior was 4.2 in prior.
And this is on the delinquent report?
Right. So when it had, yeah, it's that one right there, that chart.
Okay.
Now, do you have the it doesn't show should that be 217 in prior, that 4.2 amount?
No, 2017, we just turned it over on July the 1st.
Okay,
So
okay.
it was the current year up to June 30th.
Okay. And so over the last 2 years, basically there's almost $8 million that's still uncollected, is that correct?
Pretty much.
Right, the 3.9 plus 4.2?
Correct. Yes, I don't have the report for them. I normally do the current collections, but I don't have the overall report, but I can look into it.
Well, but based on the numbers you have there, it's
The
about
numbers that I have.
$8 million that's still outstanding. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Trustee Aliceda.
Just if the tax firm, the delinquent tax firm is the one doing the purging, doesn't that make their numbers look better percentage-wise of what they've been able to collect? So if they're on a contract with the municipality saying you need to collect a certain percentage of delinquent taxes, if you've allowed them to purge, then they can come back to the municipality and say, oh, we've collect our percentages. Am I right in that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
like to say that I really don't take any sides as far as purging to see how
Yeah.
good they're gonna look.
Yeah.
Whether it be one attorney or the other one.
But-
What I try to do is something that's there, it's uncollectible. I can leave it there for the next 19 years and it's gonna be there and it's uncollectible, then it's gonna be there. So either you clean it up or just leave it there. But I think the right thing to do for me is it doesn't matter which attorney comes to me and
Yeah.
says, look, this is gonna be uncollectible. And it shows that we owe, like, for example, $8 million. And maybe out of those $8 million, you're only gonna collect 5.
Right.
You're gonna have three of them dragging until it gets to the point where it's 19 years, 20 years later.
Right.
So sometimes, I think, that once you hire those attorneys, they're trying to do the right thing for your district.
Right.
And they're gonna make a determination that says, you know what? I mean, we tried everything, that person is never gonna.
Right, doesn't exist, yeah.
And maybe, so those are the things that might look where it looks good, for the reporting, but as far as I'm concerned, that's not my doing. My main thing is to make sure that if it's uncollectible and they come up to me, then I'll go ahead and say, you know what, we can go ahead and remove it. And if you need a report on it, it's gonna be there, and if you wanna go ahead and put it back, we can do that too.
I would like to see it, but I was going to ask you, is there another column we could add to where we could have the unpurged amount, the purged amount, just so that we have a true accounting of it?
I think we have that type of report once it's purged,
Okay, that would be wonderful. From now on, we could have that column added to it.
And if you ask the attorneys, they can ask me then, and
Okay.
I can go ahead and see if I can put something there
Okay.
to where it's more better for all of you to find out.
Just because for us, when we look at stuff, we go back like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and it doesn't compare apples to apples, so it's nice for us always to be able to compare data to the exact baseline from before and not have different, in my opinion.
Right. Thank you for the questions.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Anyone else?
Yes,
Trustee
Mr.
Saliba.
President. Thank you, sir. Just to be clear, on any, when you mention attorneys, it's because on any given property, let's say a business that was viable at one point, no longer, and they're gone. The personal property is gone, so you don't even have access to that either.
Like inventory.
Which is their inventory, their supplies and everything else, hardware that they use, whatever. It could be the city, it could be the district, it could be the county, there could be several entities which have different attorneys, probably.
Right.
And any one of those could be asking for a purge.
I mean, I collect for 42 entities and everybody's gonna be asking for the same thing because I can't just go out there and purge one. I used to do that personally, when Mr. Barrera was there. I mean, it's like, the county's so big that he would say, what are you doing, Paul? Well, I'm working on this. Drop everything. You're gonna go look for this accounts. So I would come over to McAllen, big companies, or I would go to other areas, and 30,000, 40,000 outstanding. So I said, I'm gonna collect on this, it's gonna look good for every entity. When I would get there, the business is gone.
Long
So,
gone.
That's it, you know, I mean, and we would lose a lot of money. I know, I think that you passed it, where now they can start doing the collections as far as April's 1st is concerned. And I think that was great because a lot of people just come in for maybe the first couple of months and if they see they're not doing great, they take off and then we lose out on the money. So it's something that accounts like that are the ones that you know that you won't be able to collect and so.
But if the entities involved also impacts your office as well as a tax collector for the county of Hidalgo. So if you're carrying a burden there, you're gonna have to make that determination. And the end of the day, it's your call as a tax assessor collector. You make the call as to you're gonna purge or not purge.
Right, well, you know, and I'll put it this way, I don't have to purge at the same, but at the same time, you know, the districts hire an attorney, and those are the ones that are gonna make the determination to say, you know what, we have $3 million here that we're not gonna collect. I mean, you can keep them on the roll if you like, but it's uncollectible, so they're gonna say, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and remove those. So when they come to me, then we decide to say, well, let's go ahead and purge them. But we try to purge, we purge every year, because there's the statute of limitations on real estate and personal property. So that's automatically now. Anything else that they bring to us and they're recommending that it's like, that it's uncollectible, then we'll go ahead and purge it. I know that unless the delinquent attorneys have to come before you, and you look at them, you know, all of them, and say, you know, purge this one, don't purge that one. But to me, it's like, bring me what you want, and you see that you're not gonna collect, then we can go ahead and process that.
Thank you, Mr. Verian. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, sir.
Dr. Mr. I appreciate your time,
Thank you.
appreciate the report.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you rushing down here to get to us.
Yes, definitely, and like I said, I appreciate, you know, working with the district. The district is, I guess, one of our biggest school districts. I'm very proud of that. So every time that I have to tell somebody that I collect for 42 entities, you know, in the whole county out of 44, I always bring up McAllen ISD. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, going back to the regular order of our agenda. Next item on the agenda is item number 7, board members and board committees, superintendent and district reports. First one, board committee reports, instructional services, Mr. Saldiva.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Thursday, August the 9th, at 8:30 a.m., Trustee Alvarado and I met with Dr. Ibarra, who's the Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Services, and we discussed items 9A1 through 9A14. It was a great discussion, and I can tell you that she did most of the talking. We had a few questions, and it was an hour long. So he said, "Oh my God, if you just present, we're going to be an hour." But hopefully, we'll get through it. Many of these items are.
If I recall, you had some questions too, sir.
Yes, we did. And I was saying,
you did. I'm just trying to help you, Dr. Ibarra.
So in other words, I had a little bit to it.
Yes,
I
you did,
understand. Fair enough. But some of these items are second or third on a multi-year contract, and as we discuss, and maybe something in the future, Mr. President, we may want to look at a consent agenda on some of these. But the fact of the matter is, Dr. Ibarra had a very attentive in presenting the information, and I look forward to our discussion this evening. Thank you.
It was only an hour? Thank you, trustee Saliba.
Yes, sir.
Good thing he's retired.
Instructional leadership briefing, trustee Suarez.
Thank you. Our meeting was only 5 minutes long, but there was also only one item. Mr. Forina, Ms. Aizeda and I all independently called and met with Mrs. V. We have one item on the agenda. It's 9B1. It's approval of the Texas Education Optional Flexible Day Program, and we'll discuss that. That was the only item we discussed.
Thank you, trustee Suarez. Next item was human resources briefing. Trustee Aliceda.
Yes, we met with Mr. Miller, and there's 6 things on the agenda, and 2 of a lot of interest, the student code of conduct, and then the election, which we'll be getting to, and we'll elaborate more when we get to that when we need to.
Thank you, trustee Aliceda. Business operations briefing, chair is trustee Esparza.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Fordina and myself met independently with Ms. Garcia. There's approximately 16 items, 4 of which were already discussed regarding the donation at Gonzales Elementary and the tax collections. There's another 12 exciting items to discuss, and congratulations to the business department for their awards. And who's your committee, on your committee now? Thank you, Mr. President.
Who was on your committee?
Bingo.
Who was? Thank you.
I've been there 2 years in a row.
Thank you, trustee Esparza.
We'll carry the trophy.
Yes, sir. Next item in order of the agenda this evening is 7B4, report regarding Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The CTE program will be replacing and adding a variety of technology and capital outlay equipment to the CTE high school and middle school classrooms. The equipment is necessary to achieve mastery of the TEKS, the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, licenses and certification, and dual enrollment as applicable. And Dr. Ibarra, would you like to expand on that?
Yes, thank you. Yes, this evening I would like to share a report regarding purchases for the Career Technical Education Program. The CTE department purchases technology and capital outlay equipment on an annual basis to support and enhance teaching and learning at the middle school and high schools. This equipment is in the form of PCs, laptops, smartboards, and printers. And I will go ahead and present exact counts and items by campus. And of course, the McAllen CTE's the vision of the McAllen CTE program is to equip students with 21st century technical skills that prepare them for a highly competitive global economy. Students will be lifelong learners who will contribute to workforce and community. And this aligns to our goal 1 of our strategic plan, student achievement, student focus. It also aligns to financial priorities. CTE receives 2 main funding sources, Title I and Federal Perkins Grant. 100% of the expenditures come from these 2 funding sources. Title I CTE state allotment is weighted funding and is generated by student enrollment in grades 9 through 12, as well as student attendance. Federal Perkins Grant is a non-competitive formula grant based on number of students enrolled in a coherent sequence of courses and the percentage of economically disadvantaged students that are sitting in these classrooms. So moving on, I'd like to share the items that we'll be purchasing by campus. You can see there you have a breakdown at McAllen High School. We will be purchasing 131 Dell PCs, 10 Apple laptops, 17 class printers. And these items are for the following courses: business administration, law enforcement, health science, human services, auto technology, and engineering STEM. And we move on to Memorial High School, again, 136 PCs, 10 laptops, 16 printers. And these are for business administration, human services, and engineering STEM. And again, you have there for Rowe High School, Achieve Early College, and CTE High School. One of the things that I wanted to mention is one of the questions that was asked during our briefing was, well, why do we need to purchase technology since the students have Chromebooks? And I just wanted to add that although the students have Chromebooks, the software that is required for many of the programs that are offered through these courses are not functional on the Chromebook. So it is necessary to purchase these PCs and laptops to allow the students to take their practice exams, their benchmarks, and their state licenses or certifications that they take at the end of the year. So that is why we need this equipment, this technology in those classrooms.
I have a quick question. Why is, on that chart, why is it that Rowe is only getting 1/3 of the Dell PCs as everybody else? Everybody's getting over 130. Is it because of the enrollment or what?
It's based on the enrollment and also the replacement schedule, because the laptops, the MacBooks, no, the PCs are replaced every 5 to 6 years. So it depends when they found the replacement schedule. We also have more district courses at McAllen and Memorial.
Okay.
So that adds to the enrollment we have more enrollment at Memorial High School in these programs.
But just to piggyback, if you're at Rowe and you want to do law enforcement, do they go to Mackay for that? Can they?
I'd like to ask Ms. Lily Sandoval.
Well, they have their own, right? Yeah, because I'm curious why it's not on there. So the computers are being bought are only for these programs?
The specific
So law
programs,
enforcement probably has their own computers,
they
so
may
that's
not,
why
they're
it's
not
not
on the
on this
replacement
list.
schedule.
Okay,
They're not currently ready, they're not on the replacement schedule at this time.
okay. So this is not listing all the programs at Rowe,
Correct.
right? It's just who's getting the computers.
At this time, right. Every year, we make purchases, but again, it depends on where they're needed and the replacement schedule.
Understand?
So we would be correct to assume that in 2 years, it might be that Rowe's getting more because those are now
Yes,
being.
that is correct, yes.
Mr. President, real quick.
Trustee Saldivar.
You did mention this is federal funds. This is not coming out of our general funds. This is a targeted funding source.
Yes, sir, yes. CTE supports itself with state funding, CTE state funding in particular, and the Perkins.
And the
I'm gonna give
purpose
you a
was just
breakdown.
renewed by the president, authorizing additional funds for this. So all of this is already pre-funded and predetermined for us.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Sandoval.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
No, I
Ibarra.
have more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Almost, a couple of more slides. I'll go
Sure.
fast. At the middle school, we do offer one CT course, that's career exploration, and once again, we do replace the computers as needed. You have the breakdown there in front of you. We also are going to be purchasing capital outlay items, and these will go to auto technology, one and two, an alignment rack, engine performance simulator, an engine diagnostic analyzer, and then we'll also be purchasing a Ford truck for the ag science. Here in this slide, you have a breakdown of the expenditures by unit. So we have for the Dell computers, 383 units will be approximately 383,632. And you can see there it's coming from CT, state, and federal. This is not local funding. The Dell laptops, 30 units at a cost of $26,520, and again, CT state allotment. The classroom printers, you have the breakdown there, smart boards, Mac, Apple laptops, and so forth, for a grand total of $612,709. And again, all of these expenditures come from state and federal, no local funding. And at this time, if you have additional questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Ibarra.
Thank you.
Next item is yours also, I believe.
Yes.
Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The CTE department works collaboratively with the CTE teachers in campus to ensure that CTE programs offered are based on student enrollment that lead to graduation endorsements. And Dr. Ibarra, CTE staff will be sharing information on CTE enrollment trends, and this is for information purposes only.
Yes, thank you. And once again, this presentation aligns to student one, student focus of our strategic plan. I'd like to first start by sharing with you, and you should have a copy of this, of our Career Connection booklet. And this is a guide that is revised annually, and we use it every year to provide counseling and guidance, comprehensive counseling guidance to our students, especially those that are interested in any of the endorsements that fall under CTE. The purpose of this guide is to help students plan and map their endorsement courses throughout the 4 years of high school. I'd like to call your attention to page 30, just to give you an example. This is a health science professions, and this you can see on the left side, students have a quiz. They answer questions, sort of like a short survey, and if they respond yes to these questions, then that gives them an idea that this may be a good career, a good endorsement to pursue. They also get the top paying careers in this field. So they can get an idea of what type of salary they would earn if they can make a living with these type of careers. And then on the other side, you have a roadmap of coherent sequence of courses that lead to an endorsement and also to certifications and certificates while at the high school by the end of the high school year. So here is, again, this is just an example, and this information is provided for many of the clusters of the electives that we offer at the high school level. They lead to an endorsement. Something very important, of course, is that Our students also earn performance acknowledgements, and they're recognized during graduation if they earn their endorsement and their certificates and licenses.
Is this, I'm sorry, is this booklet available online on the website?
Yes,
It is?
sir.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
And Spanish as well.
Okay.
English and Spanish. And of course, campus and central office CTE staff take into account student course requests and industry needs as they plan the course offerings. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, one more note that I'd like to point out, that we also look very closely at the national level, at the Workforce Commission data that's coming at the national level. And here on this slide, you have the 22 top occupations. And at the national level, and McAllen ISD offers courses that lead to 13 of these occupations. So we're very, very pleased that we are paying very close attention to the data at the national level. We're also trying to get data at the state level and local level, but this data is coming from the national level. And again, we're doing a good job of offering courses that are where the jobs are. And so as an example, for instance, if you look at the first one, it's healthcare professionals. The next one, we don't offer any of those courses, but we do offer in the next one, the education, training, and history, and so forth. So again, 13 career clusters that align to the national level. So I'd like to go ahead and start with student enrollment at the district level. And here I have this information by the program type. So you can we have information for the past 5 years. And you can see here the trends. In some cases, some of these courses, they're trending down as far as the request, while in other cases, they're trending up. You can see that health science is growing and public service is very, very popular at all the high schools. So those are two programs that continue to grow. And you can see again there the enrollment for the past 5 years. I would like to point out that in 2014, this is where the endorsement came into play. So in 2015, 2016, we had students who were doubling up on electives, and so our enrollment increased in CTE, but then it leveled off. So that's why you see that spike in 2015, 2016. Moving on, you have the enrollment here by campus for the past 3 years. And so once again, well, the past 2 years and then the projected enrollment for this year, and this is only a projection. We'll know on August 27th if the numbers materialize. But again, you can see that the program is growing from year to year. And then we're also very, very proud of the CTS student membership. This is like the extracurricular, like the band or football of CTE. So students participate in this CTSO and their career technical student organizations, and this provides students with opportunities to participate at the local, regional, state, and national level. So again, it's great opportunities for our students, and we are growing the program. The participation in 2016, 2017, we had 961 participating, and this past year we had 1,109.
I have a question. Is DECA offered at Roll?
Yes.
Well, it says there,
As a matter of fact, we're going to be offering it this year.
so it hasn't been offered before?
No, because you have to have a marketing certified teacher, and this year we will. So we're real excited about that opportunity because we haven't offered it at all.
I think that from now on, if my suggestion would be that if we're going to offer something at one campus, it should be offered at all three. I know that when we don't do that, we commute students back and forth to make sure that they have that option. But I know DEC has been around back when I was in school. Which
And really, the only...
Which reminds me that Mr. Alvarado is older than me, so.
And really, sir, the only reason for that is because you have to have a marketing certification, and we were able to find a teacher that does, so this is the first year we're going to be able to do it in a while.
Okay, moving on. We also are very proud that we track the expenditures and we try to get that we get the return on investment by program. We're doing that for all our programs, as recommended by the book that we're reading every year, the Spending Money Wisely. So as you can see here from the slide from year to year, CTE, our CTE director tracks the expenditures by program. So if you look at the number of students that are enrolled in the program and the total cost, and then of course you get an average. So the red is the program that has the highest cost, and then the green, the next level, and then finally the yellow Of course, you have to take into account that some programs are more expensive to operate because technology or the equipment is more costly. So that's a factor that's definitely taken into account. And then these are some pictures to represent all students who place at the state level in Skills USA, BPA, DECA, HOSA, FFA, and First Tech Challenge. Very proud of all our students, and here are just a few more pictures, and I'd like to open it up for any questions at this point.
Anyone have any questions or comments? Trustee Alicea.
Mine's more of a comment. It'd be nice if we could find the funding to give cords for all the endorsements. I know some of these kids are overachievers, and they graduate with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different endorsements, and they were really hoping to get all the cords. That's why they kind of did it. And there was a lot of disappointment the day when they got one medal. So it would be nice if, when they walk through the graduation line, if they could have something that showed how, how hard they worked. They actually got 3 cords, 4 cords, 5 cords. Just a suggestion, if you can.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I also wanted to add that the question was posed about the CTE centers. We know that many districts are building CTE centers, and it was asked, why are we not doing the same? We did reach out to find out the funding source for the CTE centers, and all of them they're built out of bond money. So that's it's something we'll continue to explore, of course, but I do want to say that our students are doing very well. The number of license certificates that our students are earning are very impressive, and so we're doing a good job with the infrastructure and the programs that we have in place.
Any other questions or comments for Dr. Ibarra? Thank you, Dr. Ibarra. Appreciate that report. Next item is 7B6. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The Department of Instructional Technology and Library Services has had a busy spring and summer season. Tech Wars, Coachella, Codezilla, and the STC Engineering Camp were all successful events, and I'm also including updates about repairs that were completed during the summer. And I will turn it over to Dr. Ibarra so she can expand on that.
Yes, thank you. And as you mentioned, a very, very busy summer for the Instructional Technology Department, but very productive. So today we're going to bring you highlights of these activities, and we'll go ahead and these activities, of course, align to Goal 1 of our strategic plan, Student Achievement, Student Focus. So I'd like to get started with Tech Wars. Tech Wars was a huge success. We were able to bring Dr. Gonzalez's vision to life. We had drone races, we had bot competitions, unmanned vehicle racing competitions, gaming competitions. So our students were very excited to participate in this inaugural event, and we are looking forward to next year's event, and we plan to add underwater drone racing as well. We had a total of 148 students that participated in this event. Moving on, I'd like to speak a little bit about the Coachella. This was the second year that we offered Coachella, and this is a coding camp for girls, and we had 75 girls in attendance where they learned about how to program robots like Dash, Osobot, and Littlebits, and they also build games using Bioxys. Not sure what that is, but it's something very interesting. And they also learned how to program microbits using the Python language. They also got to experience programming drones as well. So very, very proud that we're in our second year, and this is specifically for girls in 3rd through 5th grade. And once again, we had 97 girls that attended Coachella. Of course, this supports our STEAM Plus student framework, so we're going to continue to offer it from year to year. We had the exact same program, but for boys, and we called it Codezilla. And so exactly what happened at Coachella was replicated in Codezilla. And we had also 3rd through 5th grade boys, and let me see if I can see how many students. 75 boys participated in this activity.
So 86 is?
86.
Okay.
Yes. We also partnered with STC this year, and we offered Architectural Engineering Design Technology Camp. This was offered to 30 students and at the middle school level. And it was a 2-week program from Monday through Friday where students designed building in AutoCAD. They also printed buildings on 3D printers and set up presentations with geographical information. And of course, I had the opportunity to present to everyone, and you'll see them in a short video that we're about to show you in a couple of minutes. And then finally, I'd like to speak to you about Tech Rocks Technovate. This is the fourth year that we have been offering this particular program. Now, the difference between the first three programs that I discussed and this one is this is for adults. This is for our adult learners, especially our teachers. However, we did have administrators in attendance. We did have paraprofessional staff in attendance, so it is very well represented. We had 465 McAllen ISD educators attend, 48 being new teachers. 54 out-of-district educators attended. We had 78 presentations throughout the day. A lot of fun. They had an opportunity to play games, technology games, showcase technology, different apps and so forth. And there was a maker space for teachers to experiment with. We had great presenters at the local, state, and national level. And here's the list. I'm not going to go over them, but here's the list of some of the presenters. I'll just start with the first one. Eric is a senior. Eric Scheninger? Eric Scheninger is a senior fellow and thought leader on digital leadership and learning with the International Center for Leadership in Education. He travels throughout the country doing keynote and leadership session. He was excellent. I had the opportunity to listen to him. He had everybody very engaged. So it was very good presentations that were there in sessions that were held throughout the day. And this list continues. So we had also our principals and our teachers that attended ISD, as we mentioned at the beginning of our board meeting, that came back and turned the training around during Technovate. And moving on to very quickly to device repairs, we did repair 300 iPads throughout the year and 4,000 iPads during the summer at no cost to the district. And we also repaired 6,700 Chromebooks during the year and 2,500 during the summer at no cost to the district. And I'd like to show you a short video at this time, and then I'll open it up for questions. Are we ready with the video?
This is our fourth conference. We started a couple of years ago a learning festival where we brought all kinds of world-class speakers down to the Valley. Technology changes every day, and so really our purpose is teaching our students to be able to problem solve and pick up technology and be adaptive for all the things that it does because it changes so very quickly.
Wait, ready? Let's hold it up.
So we have Coachella. This is our second year to host Coachella here at Fossum Middle School. And it's the inaugural year that we have Codezilla. So this is the first year that we have our boys here to participate in a coding camp. All of our students are participating and collaborating together to work on coding different types of systems and robots.
There! We got it done!
What was the toughest part about the course?
Probably the intern. I don't know, like the narrower turns. It's a lot harder than the wider ones. So.
Thank you, Dr. Ibarra. If the board has any questions or comments?
I have one question, just to clarify. When you're saying the cost of the iPads and all that, when you say it's to no cost to the district, that cost is already incorporated when we made the contract when we signed the contract with the company, right? So the
Yes,
cost is already in there?
Right.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Mr. President, follow up to that, if I may.
Trustee Saliba.
Thank you. Great job, by the way. Excellent. So that should go with, be recognized for your efforts, Ms. Vega, you in the department. But the follow-up question to that is, do we know why there was a higher number of the Chromebooks? It surprises me because of the cases and the fact they seem a lot sturdier.
Sure.
Why was there a higher number?
What happened was when we got the bid with VirtueCom, we were given a So we were given a Chromebook that was just developed. So when we got it, it had some faulty motherboards and keyboards. So over the last 2 years, we've probably had to change about 40% of those that were under warranty. So it's been kind of crazy. I think if we had gone with a different model, we definitely would have had different results.
Okay, and is, the remaining, are they gonna be rotated out so that we eventually don't have this issue?
So for now, we're on our second out of our third year with this contract, and we have, most of the motherboards that needed to be changed have been changed, and the keyboards as well. What we're finding now are batteries, but it's a 3-year, it's a 3-year lifespan that you're expecting from those Chromebooks.
Okay.
So we, I'd say right now, we just ordered about 80 batteries. So it's not severe where I've had to go ask for any extra money, but, yeah.
I think we'll be working on the renewal or the next go-round this spring for next year's purchases, for a new lease.
And our iPads, we still have at least another 2 years that they'll survive.
Okay. Now, at this time, as you're gonna be renewing this, is there a real possibility you may look at a different technology than the Chromebooks, or you still feel that the Chromebooks is a viable approach?
For the price point, I think it's ideal.
Okay.
And we've been very fortunate that within that price point, the 287, we got, the Chromebook console, we've gotten all of the repairs kind of embedded within there, so I don't think we could get a better deal with any other product.
Thank you very much for your report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure. Anyone, trustee Suarez?
Do we, and just to follow up to what trustee Sandoval was saying, Saldiva, do we know how many kids bring their own devices to school?
I'd say it's a very small percentage. It's going to be in your, I think we have seen that your high schools and I'd say maybe 3 to 4% in middle schools, but other than that, we pretty much provide that one-to-one. I mean, it's something that we definitely, I know Patton had always talked that is definitely the direction that we wanted to go, but we still have a lot of parents, even ones that, like I know I send my child with a device, but I still feel like there's still a lot of people out there that choose to let the district provide it.
Sure. I would just think it would behoove us with budget constraints that we have, that Dr. Gonzalez, that we at least give the option out there, and if a kid needs a device, then we provide it for them, but at least give them the option and encourage them to bring their own devices, and maybe that would save us a lot of money, to where a student could check it out at a library instead of trying to purchase that for every single kid out there. But that's just my recommendation.
And just one, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Larry.
Trustee Suarez.
Couple of things. The students aren't actually required to take one. I mean, they have that option right now, don't they, whether they want one or use their own?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. When you talked about those 6,700, the repair, those tickets, was there a quick turnaround in getting it done? Or is that something you all are doing here, or you're sending them off?
We've been very fortunate, because within the RFO back 2 years ago, one of the things that Pat made sure of was that, one, we had a storefront, which they opened up a store, it's on McCall, and they go to our campuses at least twice a week. They pick up, fix, and within 2 days, they deliver those fixed devices, as long as they have the parts there. Same thing with iPads. So it's usually within 2 or 3 days that devices are fixed and returned.
Okay, good. And then you mentioned right now about ordering batteries. Are the batteries covered under the warranty, or is that?
No.
They're not at all? Okay. And there was also, I guess, part of bringing your own device, are phones considered, because iPhones, you can do almost anything.
We have a lot of students that utilize their phone as their device. So that's why I said in high school, it's more predominant that we have a lot of the students taking their own device. They prefer to use their phone over something else.
And how does that work in the classroom? Because I know it used to be an issue, you couldn't have a phone in school, you couldn't have pagers, you couldn't have
I think, it really depends on what your principal encouraging. I think I would say that we've been very fortunate that all three of our high school principals are very pro-tech. So I think they realize the advantage of letting their kids use their phones as a device.
As long as it's used for that purposes. If they're in there doing something else, then the teacher has the authority to say, hey, put it away. Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Trustee Alvarado.
Just a comment for you, Dr. Gonzalez. A couple years ago, when we were talking about or switching to Chromebooks, we had iPads back then. The discussion that I was particularly interested in was working with the city to see if we can do Wi-Fi, true Wi-Fi. Because my concern is the kids that don't have access to Wi-Fi. I still think we're still in the same position that we were 3 years ago, 2 years ago when I brought this up. I think now with the city, us working with the Lincoln property and some others, it's probably good that we can at least start a pilot project. You know, ideally, for example, would be Brown. You have those kids. Maybe it's not all the kids have access to Wi-Fi, but I bring up Brown because the city of McAllen has Wi-Fi infrastructure in place. All it would take is my understanding, meeting with the city back then, and you know that's back then. They have someone else new. If we could do a pilot there, have our Chromebooks sync with their Wi-Fi, and for one, to see if it's being used. I mean, we need that data. We don't know if it's, you know, worth an investment for us to go down that road, but if it's being used by the kids, because there's still some that go to the Boys and Girls Club, to McDonald's, or, you know, whatever. You still hear some of the stories. So I'd like for us to, you know, propose something. You know, maybe the Brown principal or another school will say, hey, I want to try that, and we can approach the city and at least see if they're interested. You know, I know we had some solutions with those hotspots, but I think it needs to be simpler for just the device itself. And there's a way to do it, is what I understand. You know, it's beyond, you know, me. I'm not, you know, that tech savvy, but I'd like to put it back on the radar, because we need at least have a pilot, in
Yes,
my
sir.
opinion.
I can
In
reach
my
out to the
opinion.
mayor
I
and
mean,
city
I don't know what the
manager.
rest of the board thinks. That's just,
Totally agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, we had Mr. President, I'm sorry.
Please.
We had great promise with the hotspots.
Right.
And I know there were several that were through a vendor. I kind of, you know, where are we with that? Because that was supposed to be a test as well. And I think there were around 300 or so that were going to be given out. Kind of see what became of that, and how, you know, how well did that work for us or not.
Right.
In addition to the idea of working with the city, is my understanding that the issue is sending the signal into residential, because the city was mainly to major thoroughfares, but the signal has to also go to the residents and then back, otherwise you get that pinwheel.
I think with the last time I spoke to them, it's not the same person. They were saying they had enough, you know, width or whatever it's called, that they could actually register our devices to it. The issue was who was going to do the support, who was going to do all that.
Okay.
So the city didn't want to do it, you know, obviously. So we'd have to look at that and more resource, what have you. But I guess that's what I'm saying is, if it's feasible, try something small. Let us get the data. What's the cost? Will the students access it? Does it improve grades? Does it, you know, all those other stuff that we need before we go wide scale? Because I know the cost to go wide scale would be in the millions. So before we go down that route, I would recommend one school and just see what it does.
Yes, sir.
And I can reach out to the 300 kids that got the hotspot and send out a survey and kind of see, you know, how they utilized it, was it worth it, et cetera.
Thank you, Ms. Vega, I appreciate it.
Trustee Eliseo.
And I wasn't going to talk about the hotspots, but since we're on that, the hotspots were taken away from them. They no longer are in possession of those hotspots, right?
And yes, and that was only for secondary students.
Okay.
There was some difficulty in getting the legal terms of the contract.
Right, 'cause it was free.
Resolved, and so, you know, that contract was
Yeah.
terminated. And there was actually one high school that, I believe, they weren't all picked up. Two of the schools did embrace it, but I think we didn't get a lot of takers from one of the campuses. So,
Okay.
that's the result of that.
What I was going to say before that was more to Dr. Ibarra. How can we as a district do better at, like, Coachella? I know, the principals find out that there's an opportunity and they're allowed to pick, I don't know, whatever it is, 10 boys, 10 girls, whatever it is. Some principals open the email and do it, other principals don't. So you have representation from some schools and you have zero representation from other schools. Representation. How can we, get more people to be involved? Because I know that I had friends that their principals didn't reach out to their students and they very much wanted to go. How can we work on that? Can we get better at making sure that all the principals are making all the teachers and everybody aware of the programs and they use those opportunities? Because that's an opportunity that was passed by an elementary school that I know of, and it was very unfortunate. And then the same thing for the Tech Wars. We have 1,200, or they're not Tech Wars, what the cool Tech Rocks, which is a really cool logo. I don't know who did it. I'm assuming Brad. Ditto? Did Ditto do it? It looked like Ditto's work is incredible. But is there a way to not make it mandatory? I know you can't do that because it's in the summertime, but just to make sure that we have these incredible programs in the district, and they're free. And like Coachella was an incredible program, and it's free. And then you go, and it's like, oh, why, and it's just a communication problem. And I know we provided the marquees on the school so that we can communicate to the parents, but these things aren't out there. They're not in the newsletters. They're not on the marquees letting parents know, Coachella's coming, ask your principal if you want to enroll your kid. Is there a way that we can, in the future, use our marquees to get out to parents more in the newsletters? Just if you keep that in your,
Absolutely, yes, sir. We can certainly increase our efforts to
to
get
make
the
people
word out
aware
more.
of
Yes,
programs that are free.
of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vega. Anyone else have any questions? Thank you very much, Dr. Ibarra, Ms. Vega. Appreciate the report. Next item is 7B7. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district recognizes our obligation and the value of educating our students about the process and importance of engaging in the electoral process. And in order to fulfill this obligation, the district will be partnering with the Advocacy Alliance Center of Texas, now organization, and utilizing youth voter initiative programs. This item is for information only, but Todd, would you like to expand on that?
Certainly. Together, our focus will be on increasing voter turnout so that we can secure greater access to funding for education, healthcare, veterans, and infrastructure. By educating, engaging, and empowering the people of South Texas, we can help translate votes into power to change job growth, the economy, immigration, and overall quality of life. So we'll be using the instructional services team to implement this act, advocating awareness through collaboration of teachers. They have a great youth voter initiative curriculum program. My computer's not working here. This is very important because October 9th is the last day to register for the upcoming midterm elections. So I want to use the Act Now program to get voter registration. So the principals will be working twice a year. They'll be handing out voter registration cards and getting them turned in to the local county election office.
If I may, do we do those through a particular class?
Sometimes I found as I polled the different high schools, there was history and some in government and other classes, so.
I remember when we were in school, it was a government or civics class, and everyone turned 18 had to fill one out and turn back in.
And in the past, I understand they've also held, that was at Memorial, I believe, they held like a prep rally, so to speak. They had a guest speaker come in, and they had voter registration tables out there in the hallways, so work with the curriculum people and get this.
Thank you. Anyone else have a comment or a question?
Go ahead.
Trustee
What do you
Sepulveda.
want? Thank you. In my day, and it was in the last millennium, when you'd go to the counselor's office and you did your mandatory, at that time, I don't know if it's still for induction into the draft, so you had to sign up then. And you also did if you were 18, you did your voter registration. So it was a pretty good center to do it through the counseling office, so I don't know. Anyway, that was just my thought from the last millennium.
Chisel and Rock, right?
Yes, Chisel and Rock, yeah.
Trustee Esparza.
I remember when my kids were in high school, they had, my son told me that one of the teachers was a deputy, what do they call him, a deputy?
Deputy registrar.
Deputy registrar. But the way he made it sound, my son made it sound like you went when you turned it, if you wanted to. I don't know if each high school has a deputy registrar to sign these kids up, or are they going to be, or this program going to be sending people to sign kids up?
Per state law, the the principal acts as the registrar for that campus. So they're the ones that coordinate getting the registration cards out twice a year. And
the principal does?
The principal acts as the registrar.
So
That's a lot of responsibilities. But in order to register, they have to be certified or something, don't they?
Yeah.
So.
At least everywhere else, I don't know about
Yeah,
school.
so I would think maybe there's more people on the campus that are registered, so the principal can designate that authority to them.
He's supposed to designate
He'll
someone.
designate
Yeah,
somebody.
that's what I'm thinking.
Supposed to but that is a state law, to clarify. And are we in compliance? Because there is a report coming out, and I don't know we are in compliance with all our high schools. That's why I asked for this item to be placed on the agenda.
As I polled the various schools, I wasn't able to find a consistent practice, to be quite blunt. So
Okay.
that's why I got with the local ACT organization and trying to partner
So,
with them.
and there's a lot of organizations, but I want to be clear, the assistant principals or whoever the designated principal has to be a register. So if a student wants to go register to vote, they have to be able to register with the assistant principal. I don't think we can pass it off to Battleground Texas or whoever. That's what I want clarification. If you don't have the answer for me, I'd like to bring it back because that report's coming. I know I've been approached by different people saying, are we in compliance? And I don't think we are. You're telling me we're not, and I don't think this is gonna cover us.
Okay. Can I add something?
Yeah?
Okay, so what I know about that is I could hand out a voter registration card and someone can fill it out and they can mail it in. The time when you need to be a deputy is if you sign it and they give it back to you.
That's what we're supposed to
So,
do.
well, so some of the services that are provided in schools is, here's your voter registration card, fill it out and mail it in. If you're telling them you have to keep it there, then that person has to be a deputy, which is why organizations like Act Now, they have their own people. So if you set up a booth to where you tell your kids, okay, here are the voter registration cards, tomorrow Act Now is gonna be here, go turn it in, that releases us from the liability.
I don't think so. The state law says there's a new state law, and that's what I'm referencing. It says that our school personnel had to be the register. Am I correct on that? I know there's,
That's only if we're asking the students to give it back to the school. So that would mean that if I go to a library or to pick up a voter registration card, I can pick it up. As long as I don't give it back to the library to send it in for me, then they would not be in compliance. But if I get it and put it in the mail myself,
but if you give it back to the school, are we
if
in
you give it
compliance?
back to the school, unless you have a registered deputy there.
That's what I'm saying. I think the law says that you have to have somebody there. This is a whole new law affecting the whole state. That's specifically why I asked for this item to be placed, not this, but to answer that question. So maybe I probably didn't explain it, well, or, but I apologize for that. So if we need to bring it back, that's the question I'm looking for. Steve, do you know what, it was on Twitter, I read it, there was a report on every school district.
I'm not familiar with it, but I'll check
Yep,
into it.
okay.
Mr. President, if I could, on that, it's my understanding in reading that as well, was that the district would have to contact the Secretary of State and get certain materials and certain information is what the list was mainly going to address.
Right.
So whether it was, as I understood the statute, you were to contact the Secretary of State and find out certain information of what the district is required to do. And my understanding in conversations I had with some folks, it didn't look like we had done it. Other
Right.
schools had.
Right.
So at the very least, we needed to have done that.
But, and I read that too. My understanding was that we had to have identified a register.
Yes.
So why would you have an identified register if all you're gonna do is just, when Mr. Suarez says pass it out, you don't need a register for that. So why do you need a register?
I think the key here is to first contact, look at the statute, but I think
Yep.
that first step was to get in hold of the Secretary of State's office.
Okay.
To get all the particulars as to what you're now required.
And the other question you have at Advocacy Alliance, Battleground Texas also wants to have access to their schools, and I didn't know what to tell them. They're nonpartisan. They want to reach out through however we distribute the vote. So I guess my other question is, how do we address those entities that want to reach out to our students? What's our policy on that? Are we just going to go with Advocacy Alliance, or are we going to allow other entities such as Battleground Texas?
Let me look into that matter.
Yeah.
But if I may, just for the record too. So voter registration as required by Texas Election Code 13.046, each high school principal or their designee shall serve as a voter registrar for the county in which the school is located. Duties of the principal or their designee include the following: distributing voter registration cards at least twice a year, notifying students and employees of options for returning completed applications.
Okay.
Excuse me. And number 3, accepting completed registration cards and delivering them to the county voter registrar.
So
There you go.
both,
They got to accept them.
you have to accept them. Is this, how does this affect options and IB, since they're technically under their home school, so who is Miss Peña have to be a register? So you don't have to answer those questions, I'm just,
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes, sir, Dr.
Just one thing, the administration will do our due diligence to get all these answers. We'll come back to our next board meeting with our standardized system for how we're going to get our students registered, and we'll have all the details with regard to entities and how they're going to be allowed to come into our schools. So that's our next level of work. We'll work hard, so when we get before you again, we'll have all of this in place.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If I,
Trustee Alicea?
I was going to say, I'm not sure how you're going to collect them, but a good opportunity, registration's coming up. I mean, when you go to Station 1, Station 2, Station 3, Station 4, it'd be nice if Station 6 was pick up your voter registration card and then walk on to the next station. That'd be a simple act to do. You don't have to collect it, but just pass it out.
It's a good idea.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Questions or comments?
Nope, no, sir.
Good discussion.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
Next item is items under 8. These are items that were discussed in closed sessions. They will require action on these. Dr. Gonzalez, 8A.
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of recommendations under separate cover for discussion during closed session. We are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Second. Been moved by Trustee Farina and seconded by Trustee.
Actually, I think we need
Yes.
to make amendment on this.
Yes.
I'd like to make an amendment.
Well, hold on, you have
Let
an
me-
amendment.
Let me announce it, and then I'll ask for, been moved by Trustee Farina and seconded by Trustee Saldivar. Any questions or discussions on this item?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion that employee number 14 with the initials DP, we approve his recommendations.
We have a motion, point of order, we have a motion on the,
And I'm making an
amending it.
amendment to the motion.
He's amending the motion, I'm going to ask him for
he
permission.
said a motion, he didn't say amendment.
He meant to say amendment.
Okay, just point of order, I mean,
Appreciate
Yeah.
that, but he really meant to say
okay.
amendment.
The military man.
Yeah, the amendment. Nice to be short. Item number 14, with the initials of, employee number 14 with the initials of DP, we approve, subject to the approval of his resignation from his prior employer.
Mr. Farina, will you accept the amendment?
I do accept that amendment.
Mr. Saldivar?
Yes, I accept the amendment.
All right, it's been moved and amended. Any discussions on this item? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 8B, Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of resignations for the 2017-2018 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session. This item is for information only.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Any questions or comments?
No, sir.
Item 8C, Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of resignations for the 2018-2019 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session. This item is for information purposes only.
No questions or comments? Thank you. Moving on, item 8D, pending arbitration litigation.
No
Mr. Crane. 8E, possible real estate acquisition.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. Moving on to item number 9, 9A1, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The no pass, no play rule was designed to encourage academic achievement and extracurricular achievement. The state and district allows principals to grant exemptions to the no pass, no play rule for certain advanced academic courses, and this encourages students to participate in the most rigorous academic courses available, as well as participate in extracurricular activities. This item is for action on August 27th board meeting.
And it will be presented by Dr. Ibarra.
So
And it
moved.
will be presented by Dr. Ibarra.
Oh.
Dr. Ibarra?
Oh, we're doing for consent?
She's
Yes,
gonna
sir.
discuss it.
We
Oh,
went
yeah,
ahead
she's
and.
gonna be on this consent next time.
Yes, we went ahead and included the list of courses that we are bringing forth for the UIO no pass, no play exempt courses for your review. And again, there is criteria that students need to meet. They must have a grade in the course that is not below 65. And again, the principal has to approve, and it's only one course per semester that is allowed.
Thank you, Dr. Ibarra. Thank you.
I-
Any
I-
questions on, or discussion?
I do have a motion to approve, so I'm not going to withdraw at this time.
Was there a second?
Well, no, it might die on that, but, I mean, I don't see anywhere with consent, and we have it as an action. And school starts on the 27th, the day of our board meeting, so I'd like to have.
Second. Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the item presented.
Good question.
Trustee Esparza.
Do we have this policy in place already?
Yes, sir, and I was about to pull it up. Dr. Schultz.
So it's already in place. Is anything changing?
No, nothing has changed for the past few years. It's been the same list of courses.
Other than maybe adding or dropping some courses?
exactly.
But it's exactly the same?
Yes. The only new courses that we have added that I'm just taking note of are the UT on ramps. And other than that, but I'd like to just discuss it with Ms. Karen Nitsch. Oh, do we need to add the UT on ramp courses?
It's all there in the blue, at the bottom. And if you want more courses.
Okay, so we're fine.
What does change is the list of classes.
That's what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
as far as the procedure, it's still the same?
Still the
as
same,
it's
yes.
been? Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion or questions? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this item. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Dr. Gonzalez, 9A2.
Yes, sir. The CTE department utilizes Certiport for student testing services. Again, this item is for the August 27th board meeting. And Dr. Ibarra, would you like to expand on that?
Yes, this Certiport is, the CTE department utilizes software and licenses provided through this company which offers certification assessment and testing services and Certiport exclusive administration of practice tests, exams, and these services, and we pay out a Perkins grant.
I move that we pass this at this time.
I'll second.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar and seconded by trustee Alvarado. Any questions or comments on this item? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Mr. President, point of clarification. On these items that are being presented for a consent agenda, and I'll ask the staff, your staff has already, does your staff already know that this is a 2-item, or it'll take 4 weeks or 2 weeks to get it passed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask.
Well, point of clarification, and it's a good question. I guess I'm a little confused because I didn't realize these were items of consent agenda, so I prepared, read them, but it's not on my agenda.
It says briefing items.
It says instructional, no, it says instructional services, instructional leadership, human resource, business, and board of trustee items.
Doesn't say briefing on yours?
Nope, no, sir. Oh, we're
Under
briefing
A.
items, okay.
Well-
So normally, I guess, I mean, the recommendation would be no action needed. I read it as action needed. So a consent agenda for me 10 years ago was items that were like the one we just did, nothing changed. We approved those and went on. And there was an item, I mean, and I know I was on the board the last time when we kind of did it this way, but it did specify this item, no action taken. So that's where I'm a little confused. I didn't read briefing, I just read the action item.
Well, when I first started on the board, there was a specific section that said consent agenda. And there's, as I mentioned earlier, there were several items, and in fact, the 2 we voted on could have been on a consent agenda.
Right.
Now, this says approval on each item, and as Board of Trustees, if it says approval, we have a right to make a motion, have a discussion, and decide. If it's a true consent agenda, and it can only be a consent agenda if it's a contract or an agreement for which the board has a multiple-year terms with it, and so it's only exercising a renewal for a second or third. Doesn't mean it won't be discussed, because any board member can pull that item as a consent.
That's
But
right.
this isn't arranged as a consent agenda, and under board policy, we do not have a briefing clause. It's an actionable clause. You can have reports, but the rest should be actionable, and these are actionable by saying approve. So, and I kind of,
Maybe take no action on any items, maybe pull them if, I don't know, because I mean,
well, you know, the meeting
I
we had on the
misunderstood. I know you spoke to me, I misunderstood. I thought we would have a true consent agenda.
Yeah, and there, in 2009, 2010, I think even as late as 11, we still had consent agendas. So it'd be easy to go back and see what one looks like and how it's set up.
Right.
And go to that route if that's where we want to go.
Okay.
But consent agenda means we vote on the item without any debate or question. It doesn't mean it's a two-full meeting. That came after. And we've never amended our board policy to not have on every board meeting an actionable item.
Any other comments or questions?
No, sir.
Thank you. Dr. Gonzalez, moving on to item 9A3.
Yes, sir. The Regional Day School Program for the Deaf requires supplemental services for sign language interpreters for deaf and hard of hearing students in academic classes and extracurricular activities on a daily basis. Students need an interpreter at all times to have access to their coursework in order to be successful. And this item is for action on the August 27th board meeting. But
I think we
that's
should take a
something-
move at this.
Before anyone makes a motion on it, this contract's not final, is that correct, Mr. Crane?
That one, it is final. It's maybe waiting on insurance, you could pass it subject to insurance.
I have a question.
Trustee Esparza?
I reviewed this and I reached out to Dr. Ibarra on this because I read the contract. The contract said refer to Exhibit B as to pricing, and then Exhibit B said refer to bid packet. I don't know if the bid packet is attached to the contract or not, but other than that, there was no pricing. I didn't see any pricing in the contract.
If I may, I received that information today from purchasing. I went ahead and uploaded to SharePoint.
Well, I got the bid packet. Was it made part of the contract now, or what?
That should have been attached. I think it was just left out.
The way the contractor designed the bid request and the bid packet, well, the bid packet is usually Exhibit A, and Exhibit B is the fees.
Okay. Well, I was just saying, it referred to it, but there was nothing there. So it's not going to put anything in the contract as far as fees other than refer to bid packet. Is that what you're saying?
No, what should be there is Exhibit A, which is the services that we perform, and Exhibit B should have a tab behind it that states the price per service.
Okay, Exhibit B just said refer to bid packet. That's what I'm saying. At least the one I saw last night or was it today at lunchtime when I reviewed it? I just want to make sure, because.
I can find out.
Okay.
It was a draft at that point.
I know that, but that's separate. It's not in the contract.
Exhibit B is there with prices. I just confirmed that Exhibit B is there with prices.
Okay, if you've read it,
Well, I'm being told Exhibit B is there with prices.
if you've read it and you're approving it,
Correct.
I'm just saying I didn't see it.
Any questions or comments on this
I
item?
do have a question, sir.
Trustee Alvarado?
On the secondary vendor and the qualified vendor, they're both from Florida. I'm not sure to address this to probably, Ms. Elizondo, probably. The issue with the way I understand, the way it's been explained to me is in the past, sometimes when we do this, then they'll turn around and they'll contract with someone here local anyway. And sometimes I have a hard time finding people or what have you. Have we done previous work with these two vendors?
I'm gonna have Ms. Elizabeth come up here.
Okay.
Front. She has experience with
Mr. Alvarado, I
ISD,
believe that's
and-
A4.
Am I looking at the wrong one?
I think so.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong
Yeah, we're
one. I
on A3
apologize.
right now.
Yeah.
Just stay up there. We'll be there.
We'll be there in a second, yeah.
That's the next one.
Yeah, it's the next one. I apologize.
I did want to add that
These are out of state too.
these services are for the students that we have in the, at Memorial, Escandon, and Brown, and this is only for our paras who are interpreters. When they're out, when they're absent, we have to bring in these interpreters, so we hire out, because the students must always have an interpreter with them. So it's really just to cover, they serve as subs for our paras.
Okay, that makes sense.
Are they looking at sign language? Yeah, sign language. Yeah, secondary.
Any further questions or comments on the item? All right, Dr. Gonzalez, going on to item 9A4.
Yes, sir. The Special Education Department uses this proposal to contract with therapy service providers to assist with the implementation of individual education plan goals for special education students. And these services are determined by the ARD, the Admission Review and Dismissal Committees, to meet IEP requirements. This item is for action on August 27th board meeting.
Do you have any comments or questions on item 9A4?
Here you go, Vito, you can add.
Well, actually, no, mine was item
It was 3,
Yeah,
wasn't
you
it?
were
9A3.
Yeah, you
Yeah, it
were
was.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So he got me all confused.
Not again.
So I'd like to,
Okay,
yeah,
let's go back to item 9A3.
A3. right.
That's what he was asking.
So we have.
And is
worked-
this sign
we have worked
language?
with that company before, and, They're local.
No, the primary vendor, one is, but the other two vendors, we, okay, so we don't use them unless the primary vendor can't meet the demand? Okay, so I'm good. Perfect. Thank you.
Dr. Alvarado?
You're gonna get into
Mr. Alvarado?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
robotics. That's a really good move.
Back to 9A4. Dr. Gonzalez, you introduced that item.
Yes, sir. So we're on 9A4. Again, the Special Education Department uses this proposal to contract therapy services providers to assist with the implementation of individual education plan goals for special education students. These services are determined by the ARD Committee, the Admission Review and Dismissal Committee, to meet the IEP. And we are requesting action on this item for the August 27th board meeting.
Any questions or comments on item 9A4? All right.
I move that we approve this item. I mean, I think, you know, school's gonna start at the next meeting. I think staff needs to be given direction and move on, and we have no questions, so, you know, if we wanna start having workshops before the meeting, I don't have any problem with that, but our board, you know, our board policy is real clear, that the Board of Trustees is a working body, and we come in here, and it says approve, we should be making these motions. So I move that we approve the request for qualifications of 2018-025 legal services for special education.
It's not what we're
I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna excuse myself on this one.
024, I'm sorry. 024, physical therapy and occupational therapy services for special education.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar and seconded by trustee Farina. Any questions or comments on the item?
I have a question.
Mr. Esparza?
Mr. Crane, have you approved this contract as far as for item 9A4, physical therapy services?
That one, did have approved of it? I believe so.
What, the primary vendor?
The primary vendor only.
Okay. That's all I have.
That's a trustee. Anyone
Sorry.
else have a question or comment? Mr. Alvarado will be abstaining from voting on this item. Therefore, all those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
For the record, did we approve 9A3?
No.
No.
Okay.
Item number 9A5, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The Special Education Department solicited proposals for legal services to be utilized for training, guidance, and representation during TEA complaints and due process hearings, in addition to any other issues. Dr. Ibarra will expand on this item, and we're also requesting action on the 27th board meeting. Dr. Ibarra.
Yes, sir. We had 40 firms that were invited to provide qualification statement, and 8 firms responded. And we do have a team that comes together consisting of the Director of Special Ed, Director of Purchasing, and the senior buyer to evaluate the proposals. We do have a rubric that we use, and we take into account the cost, the area specialization, and the accessibility of the attorneys to the district, and that is how we determine the firm that we select. Any questions?
Any questions or comments on this item? Contract on this item has not been approved, is that correct?
I believe it has been approved, that's what I was confirming. Is that right?
During our hearing, it had been approved.
But it has been approved, right? 985. That's the special education, legal
Legal
services, special
services.
education.
It has a signature on it.
I believe that was approved. Yes, it's been approved.
I move to approve.
Second?
It's been moved by trustee Farina and seconded by trustee Saldivar. Any questions or comments?
I have comments. Being is that the superintendent and the president set the agenda, and it was the superintendent's recommendation, and on all of them, it's to approve it on August 27th. I think that we should respect the superintendent and the board president's setting of the agenda. Just my comment.
Thank you, trustee Eliseo. Any other comments or questions?
I would make comment, but I don't want to disrespect the parties. You know, I think this is something we need to discuss, and probably need to set up a workshop. And I'm, you know, at the same time, I'm okay with, you know, we want to amend our board policy, then let's amend it. But if we go back to that approach, it's less than 10 meetings a month in which we're actually taking action. I mean, 10 meetings a year. So we don't have meetings in July, and we don't have meetings in December. So that means this board will only take action on 10 meetings in a year. I think this district deserves better than that.
Well,
It means no disrespect, but
Or
the item
clarify.
says approval anyway.
Well, clarify the briefing, that's one word, I missed the other stuff, so I'm prepared to take action on this. So if we want something that's briefed, I think it needs to put on a different section. It says, you know, but I've met with my committee and I didn't realize, we didn't discuss that this was gonna be a briefing. We just discussed this was coming to the meeting. I read it, I'm ready to take action, and, you know, so that's where I'm coming with that. I'm a little, and I know board president reached out to me, I misunderstood, I'll take that, you know, I misunderstood his intent on that. I just, you know, think we need to clarify. If we're gonna follow that format, I agree, we need to put it on agenda. In fact, I'll ask that we put it on the agenda for next time, or I'll leave it to you, I'll take that back.
Well, I don't think you can modify the agenda, with all due respect, without changing your board policy.
That's what I'm going with
Because
that.
it's all actionable. Now, the board policy does allow for consent. And so there's certain items, and I did mention, some of these should be on a consent agenda.
Right.
Which means you have no debate, no discussion unless a board member pulls it. That's the way we did it.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna change to one meeting's a briefing meeting and one meeting is an action meeting, just like this other issue we had earlier today with the city, I mean, it would've been much longer in that old format in which we can only take action in 1 month. Well, instead of being 2 months, it would've been 4 months. Because, you know, if we have question and then we don't take an action, now we have another question. I think we gotta give the superintendent a lot of latitude to do the things he needs to do.
Well, in my recollection, in the old days when I was on, we would do a briefing and a voting, but at the briefing, if there was something the superintendent needed approval on, he would put it on and it would say for approval. So we would vote, every single meeting we went to, we would vote, but the majority of the votes were at the second meeting.
Say, and when I was aboard 10 years ago, we didn't have that. We had
didn't do
consent
that.
agenda. We didn't carry anything over unless it was requested by the superintendent back then. So I'm coming from a different mindset, which, that's why we have our committee meetings. That's why we prepared to be here. And if there's something that's not ready, like the issue we had with the voting, then we pull it and we move on. So that, and I know what you're saying, it's a difference, but my point, it's.
With all due respect to
Yeah,
the
we're off task,
trustees, we're off task.
Right.
We have a motion and a second on the items. It's deemed legal services for special education. And if there are any questions or comments?
I have some questions.
Trustee Esparza.
Who was part of the interviewing committee for these firms?
It was myself, Ms. Larson, Ms. Gonzalez, and Ms. Buckley was there for the RSD.
Because I know we've had, the one that's looked like ranked number one, we've had them for a while. I think back during the summer, during TASB conference, I met with some of the individuals from the second firm and discussed some of the things that services they provide. And one of the services that they indicated they provided was coming down and provide training for staff. Do we get that from the current firm that we have right now?
Correct. Yeah, she'll be coming on the 16th of August and the 17th of August.
And is that new, or they've done that in the past? It's been a practice? Okay. And who exactly do they meet with?
Well, it depends. This time she's going to be meeting with our diagnosticians, our LSSPs, our speech on one day. And then day 2, she's going to be meeting with myself and all the special ed coordinators.
And how is the information that they present, how is that relayed to our special ed teachers who are in the classroom and having these issues that come up?
So what she's going to be going over is a strategic plan for the state of Texas. And once she gives us that information, we're going to turn it around with our teachers after school at meetings that we have, monthly meetings. We're going to be giving that information to them.
And I know you're new at this position, so Ms. Larson, you've been there. Has that been done in the past, and is there documentation to show that training is actually going on for the teachers?
In the years that I have worked in special ed, Ms. Weaver has met with principals and assistant principals to address changes in special ed behavior rules and laws. She has trained the diagnosticians, and they are charged to turn around to their campuses. As far as documentation, yes, we do have training logs and agendas for the trainings.
To show that it's getting back to the teachers?
Yes.
I mean, because that's where the information needs to be, I think.
Because this year we had an office
Okay.
So before that, we weren't as efficient with keeping our documentation. But in 16, 17, we had every documentation for every campus training that rolled back.
Because I think that's important, because I mean, a lot of the issues that come up, I hear from other attorneys, the complaint is your staff's not trained on the new special ed laws and so forth. I just want to make sure that it's great that they're training our principals and the diagnosticians, but it needs to get down to the teachers that are in there in the classroom dealing with these situations.
I have all confidence money that's going to check on it this year, too.
Mr. President, if I may?
Yes, sir, Dr.
Now, one thing that we did do this year is I do want to commend the team because we got very specific and drilled down all the way back to ARD dynamics, the anatomy of the ARD, the responsibility of every person within the ARD, developing quality IEPs, looking at the execution of the IEPs. So I know that the staff did more this year with regard to being intentional. So do appreciate that and look forward to continue moving that. But to Trustee Esparza's point, we have to make sure that it gets down into the classroom and implementing and affecting those IEPs to benefit the children. And we will continue to do that to ensure that we're doing all we can in that area. And we have all the confidence in Ms. Elizondo. And we want to thank Ms. Larson for her support as she transitions. But we're excited about the direction the special education department's going.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Trustee Esparza?
That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this item? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 9A6. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The Library Services Instructional Resources Cooperative provides high-quality resources for students and staff. District receives financial benefits through volume purchasing provided through the cooperative. And Dr. Ibarra has more information for us on this.
Yes, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but again, being part of the cooperative allows us to get better pricing for many of the instructional resource, library resources. So we have been a member of the cooperative for a number of years now.
Any questions or comments for Dr. Ibarra?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Saldivar and seconded by Trustee Farina. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Dr. Gonzalez, item number 9A7.
Yes, sir. Library Services Instructional Resources Cooperative provides high-quality resources for students and staff. District receives financial benefits through volume purchasing provided through the cooperative. Dr. Ibarra?
I'm sorry. Is this it's basically the same thing. Ms. Houston, is this can you come forth? We're on 2018-070?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The communities of
That's in
schools in
communities
Hidalgo
in
County.
schools. Okay, you're, okay, I see what we're saying. I'm sorry, I got confused. The Communities in Schools is a program that we offer at the 3 high schools and 6 middle schools. No, it's not yours, I apologize, my mistake. It's a program that we offer at the 3 high schools and 3 middle schools, and the goal of this, of course, is to help our students transition into college. We provide services by guiding them with college and career preparation, counseling, and so forth. So it's a good program, and again, we're going to be continuing this service at the 3 high schools and 6 middle schools.
Thank you, Dr. Ibarra. Any comments or questions for Dr. Ibarra or on this item?
Mr. President, if I may.
Trustee Saldivar.
Thank you, sir. This is the second year or the third year of the contract, or is it the first year? It says year 1. Is this the first year? I
No.
thought we'd been doing this.
We have been doing this for a number of years, at least since I've been here.
But
So
it's for this contract itself, this is the second year, or is this the third year of this contract? Because it's a 1-year contract only, but there were options on it.
I'll need to get back to you, sir. Ms. Anjanet's not here, and we do pay we pay for this program out of Title I funds and state compensatory funds. So I'll get that information. I know we had it last year. We're renewing it this year again, and we're very pleased to bring it back. But I don't know the exact number of years.
Yeah, I think the notes I had, it was the second year. The attorney has already reviewed this and approved it?
Correct. And I believe this may be the second year but it's a brand-new contract, same contract, but it's for a different school year, so the other one expired the year before.
Okay.
It wasn't a renewal.
So
Don't
moved.
have anything good.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Saldívar and second by trustee Farina. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 9A8, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. DMAC is an electronic system that the district utilizes for data analysis of benchmarks and assessment data. At this point, does the board have any questions on this item?
Any comments or questions by the board?
This is a, excuse me, Mr. President, if I may.
Yes, sir.
This is an item that we've been using for several years now, at least 4, as I recall.
Yes,
And
sir.
this is able to, for anybody that has access, which our principals do and our deans, to get real-time information on data on their classrooms to how their student population's doing.
Yes,
Is
sir,
that correct?
exactly.
Is this, again, has our attorney reviewed this? The agreement has been reviewed by legal counsel?
Reviewed and approved.
All right, so moved.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Saldívar and second by trustee Farina. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. And item 9A9, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The Community Youth Development Program provides mentoring for students with regard to academic achievement.
Any comments or questions on this item for Dr. Gonzalez or Dr. Ibarra?
Again,
This
has
is
been-
offered at the
go ahead.
78501 schools, just for clarification, not all of our schools. So we have Alvarez Seguin, Dickman Zavala, McAuliffe, Travis Field, Wilson, Jackson, Milam, Memorial, and Kathy. That's where we will be offering this program.
Dr. Ivana, has the grant been awarded already?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Saldívar, seconded by trustee Farina. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. 9A10, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district purchases school office furniture and installation services to furnish district facilities for students and staff on an as-needed basis. This request for proposal was intended to have furniture standards across our district. Any questions for the administration at this point?
Any comments or questions on this item by anyone on the board?
So moved. I mean, it's a 3-year, is this a third term of the contract?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So moved.
It's a
We're
brand new
renewing.
bid.
It's
We're
a brand new
finishing-
contract.
It's not a contract, really.
It's a brand new bid.
Okay, so have we had enough time to make, Mr. President? Have we had enough time just to make sure that all the vendors are able to meet all the requirements? So we're ready to go on this?
We're just standardizing furniture. We have another furniture that this is to standardize across the district. It's a new one.
You went, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. President. All right, thank you, sir. As I understand, you went out for 180 companies to try to, and you had 11 companies that responded.
Correct.
And so what you're asking for is our intent for an RFP at this time. That's
Yes,
all it really is, so that you can begin the process.
Well, no, it's already been evaluated. We solicited proposals for standardizing furniture for classrooms and for like executive offices so that we can have a standard type of desk like in all high schools and middle schools and elementaries. And based on principal input and ELT input. And so based on that, the 11 companies that responded, that's how we awarded. I mean, that's how we're recommending that you award.
And those are the lists that they'd be able to choose from. These have
Correct.
already been
Yeah.
vetted and everything.
Yes.
So you just need us to make an action on that, so you can
Correct.
begin. So moved.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussions or comments on this question? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. It's been brought to my attention that there may be a conflict on item 9A4. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to rescind our action, our previous action on this item, and we'll open it back up for discussion.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Saldivar and seconded by trustee Suarez that we rescind the action taken on item 9A4 in the previous vote. Any questions or comments? None? All those in favor of?
Well, so if it's been
We're going to rescind what we did a little while ago.
okay, so does that mean, do we need to make a new motion to approve?
If we choose to or not to, yes.
Okay.
All
Right now,
those-
it's just a motion to rescind.
All those in favor of rescinding the item, previous action on the item, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mr. President?
Motion to rescind carries 6-0. I'd like to open up the item again, 9A4, request for proposal for physical therapy and occupational services. Trustee Suarez has a question.
So move. Move to approve.
Okay, is there a
Second.
second? It's been moved in second. Is there any further comments or
Mi-
questions?
Mr. President, I'll be abstaining from voting on this due to a conflict.
Please let the record reflect that trustee Esparza will be abstaining from vote on this item. Is there any comments or questions on this item?
I also saying just because I work extensively with a lot of these providers, so I'm abstaining.
Also, let the record reflect that trustee Alvarado will be abstaining from this motion. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Now back.
502.
502.
502. Okay, back now to item 9A11. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. McAllen ISD provides students with dual enrollment opportunities through academic and technical courses that lead to college certificates or associate's degrees. Dual enrollment also provides students with performance acknowledgments for graduation opportunities. I do want to point out that we're working hard at this point to build relationships with Texas A&M that just moved into our area, relationships with Texas A&M, just like we have currently with STC and UTRGV.
Dr. Gonzalez, what school was it? Mr. Vela, I didn't hear you.
Texas A&M, sir.
Oh, thank you.
We have affiliations with what other schools?
With the UT system, sir, and STC.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Any comments or questions on this item?
This item specifically deals with STC, though.
That's
Yes,
correct.
that is correct.
Okay.
Yes, we're just wanting to expand the opportunities that we offer students, and so we do have partnerships right now with STC, with UTRGV, UT Austin through UT on Ramps, and hopefully in the near future with Texas A&M.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded on this item. I have a question. Something came out about the validity of these programs, specifically STC. Did I see something today on that?
Yes, you did. It came out yesterday.
It was yesterday?
Yes.
And it confirmed
The
the
success
validity and the success of these
of dual
programs.
credit, yes.
All right, thanks. Any other comments or questions on this item?
Yes, Mr. President, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just to be clear, it says 2017 through August 2017 to May 2018, there was zero cost for expenditures during that period. It's not a typo,
It's
right?
a typo. Has to be.
No,
I'm sorry. Are you on
Expenditures
the
for course
agenda?
credit from August 2017 through May 2018 were zero. Just want to be sure.
Are you on the cover, sir?
Yes. Page 325.
Budgetary considerations, okay. Oh, I see it, okay. Yes, yes, it is a typo.
It was zero, it's not a typo.
No, there are some fees that are, they don't charge us for the credit courses for the dual enrollment, but there are other fees associated with that.
So that is still correct,
That is
though? For the
correct, yes.
credit courses, it's zero?
It is zero.
Okay, just wanted to be sure. I know there are other charges, but
Yes.
for that line.
For the teacher, for the textbooks and so forth.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
I have a quick question, I'm sorry.
Trustee Alvarado.
Dr. Ibarra, just for my clarification, if a student takes a dual enrollment, whether it's SC, UT, or wherever, if they fail that class, that affects them in terms of financial aid and what have you. That's the only danger, I think, is what I read too, that there's a lot of students that don't know that, and when they apply, they don't get into university, or they don't have access to financial aid because, they dropped a class, and, with a bad grade, or they failed, or what have you. So I think that's what I know.
Part of that report?
Yeah, because there's a lot more kids taking they're not aware of that. Y'all do a good job with that. I've asked some students to say that they're very much made aware, if they're having issues, you help them drop them way before that grade becomes final. So I just want to thank you because I know I'd reached out to a few of the students and they're very much aware of all those factors.
Right, and we do meet with the STC annually. They provide us with the report information, the number of students that are completing, that are dropping, and so forth. And one of the things that we're doing that we're very proud of is comprehensive advisement, where we are being very diligent, very intentional with our students through the CTE, through the academic counselors and college and career specialists to provide the students and the parents information on exactly the impact that it has. We want our students to do enrollment courses, but also know that if they fail, that it's counting towards their financial aid and also towards their graduation requirements.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, any other comments or questions? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Gonzalez, item 9A12.
Yes, sir. On July 30th, 2018, the Board of Trustees approved the sole source number 2018-041, Sharon Wells Consulting Services and Materials for second through fifth grade teachers with anticipated expenditures of $145,800. That anticipated expenditure has changed. And Dr. Ibarra, would you like to expand on that?
Yes, we felt well, at the time, we didn't realize that there was going to be additional cost incurred because since we are now no longer going to be outsourcing to Office Depot, now we're going to be doing it in-house. Sharon Wells is passing on the cost of providing us with a master copy and a digital copy. So that's why the price changed.
And did the price go up, the price go down?
The price went up,
Okay.
yes.
Of course it is.
It's 157,000.
From 143 to
I missed that
157.
Should have went down.
I think the price went down.
Should it have gone down?
Okay.
Yeah,
Let-
if we're
let me-
doing our own printing.
Let me
Oh,
clarify.
but they're going to charge us a licensing fee
Yes,
to
they were
print.
going to charge us a significant amount for giving us the copies, but we renegotiated, and again, it did go up initially to 213, and now we went ahead and renegotiated to 157. So they're only going to give us a master copy and the digital copy. So we've been back and forth. We want to make sure that, we get the best price possible, and so we thought it was excessive, and so we went back and renegotiated, and fortunately, we were able to bring it down to 157,000.
Good
The
call.
original contract was 143, then it went up to 213, and now it's set at 157,000.
Well, let's lock it in, so move.
Yes.
Second.
I have a question.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussions? Trustee Esparza.
And so we're going to be doing all our own printing, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
How will that affect us cost-wise, though? I mean, are you
It
going to
won't.
see the difference there?
Yeah.
No?
Paper, print.
No.
Printing is
that's
free.
Not with
included in our
the
printing-
new printing
in our
contract, copy
Oh, right.
contract.
It's unlimited.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Danny and I negotiated.
We're having to pay only.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. No,
That's a
we
joke.
did
That's a
not.
joke.
I'm
We're
sorry.
having
We
to pay for the
suggested-
paper, so we are providing the paper to the campuses, but it's a significant savings from the outsourcing that we used to do.
Even still providing the,
Yes.
utilizing paper?
Yes.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Gonzalez, item 9A13.
This agreement allows the district to provide dinners at no cost or at no charge to children 18 years and under and participating in the City of McAllen after-school activities. It also stipulates that McAllen ISD will be the sole entity claiming reimbursements from the Texas Department of Agriculture for meals served, and this contract is renewed every year.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this item?
Just a comment that it was a great program, so thank you, Ms. Molina, for your leadership on that.
All right, all those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Gonzalez, we're moving on to item number 9A14.
Yes, sir. This agreement allows the district to provide dinners at no charge to children 18 years and under participating in the McAllen Boys and Girls Club after-school activities. It also stipulates that McAllen ISD will be the sole entity claiming reimbursement from the Texas Department of Agriculture for meals served, and this contract is renewed every year.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Trustee Suarez.
I have a question. When we drop off the food, like at the Boys Club, are we liable? What happens afterwards? And the only reason why I'm asking is the other day, I went to a basketball tournament there, and I saw that some of their equipment was outside that they used, but it had food in there, and it was unplugged. It could have been that they're doing their cleaning, but I don't know, my question is to Mr. Crane. Are we liable if we drop off the food and the food is given and something happens?
I can tell you what the agreement says.
Sure.
The agreement says the school district will furnish the containers, and that they have been, the Boys and Girls Club has been trained how to administer the food and food safety, and they're supposed to be using the containers that we provide them to store the food until they serve it.
And to clarify, I'm not saying that the food that was put there or that they had outside had anything to do with McAllen ISD. It could have been that they're doing their summer cleaning and there happened to be food in there. It's just it raised a concern because I know that we provide that for them. It's just,
Well, I believe
you've answered my question.
So two different programs, summer feeding program ended August 3rd, and so we leave our equipment there and then pick it up. This is a program where we drop off the food in the warmer, it's served for 1 hour, and then they unplug the warmers and we pick them up.
Okay, yeah, it was something totally different. But I just wanted to ask.
Trustee Suarez, thank you. Anyone else have a comment or question on this item? Trustee Aliceta.
I sit on the board of the Boys and Girls Club, so I will be abstaining.
Let the record reflect that Trustee Aliceta will be abstaining from voting on this item.
Mr. President,
Trustee
I'll also be
Esparza.
abstaining. My wife sits on the board of the Boys and Girls Club, so I'll be abstaining also.
Let the record reflect that Trustee Esparza will also be abstaining from voting on this item.
Mr. Suarez is going to come to y'all when his team loses in basketball.
They don't lose.
All those in favor of this item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 502.
That's true, they don't lose.
We're going on to item 9B1. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The optional flexible day program allows the district to provide flexible hours and days of attendance for students in any grade who have dropped out and are at risk of dropping out, and we are.
Administration is asking for action on this item.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on this item?
No, sir.
All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to item C1. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. As per Chapter 37.001 of the Texas Education Code, the Board of Trustees shall adopt a student code of conduct for the district, and the code of conduct must be posted and prominently displayed at each campus. And we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Suarez and seconded by Trustee Farina. Any comments or questions on this item? Trustee Suarez.
Is dress code in the code of conduct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so who's responsible if it's not being enforced?
For the employee or the student?
Both.
The campus principal.
But the
Ultimately, Mr. Suarez, the principal has the ultimate say-so. It's under regulations, it's under the
Dr. Gonzalez, I will say that I would hope that whatever is done at one campus is done throughout the entire district. I think it behooves us to enforce this. I think previous board members that have been here before have put this set a dress code in place for a reason. I think it's we as the governing body, you as the superintendent and our principals should enforce it.
Yes, sir.
I think there is and to your point, Mr. Suarez, and I agree with you. I know last year.
Can you say that again?
I agree with you. Last year, a couple of high schools implemented, and I saw, if you saw on Twitter a couple of times, there was a lot of complaints. Kids got sent home, like mine, for wearing, the holes in there, but that's something they've always done. So I think there was a concentrated effort last year to go ahead and force it. So, we just got to be consistent throughout the year. My question was in regards to cell phone, and I didn't see it in here, but I just want to clarify for my side. I know it's in there. We don't allow cell phone use during the day, correct? Yeah, a student, can they carry their phone with them as long as it's not on?
The cell phone usage is under the handbook, it's not under the student code.
The handbook, okay.
So each campus under C2 local is the as long as the cell phone use does not become a disruption to the classroom environment, or does not become a disruption to the school environment.
Okay. I'm probably going to go off topic, so I'll probably just pull it, but I would like further discussion on this one because I think we're a little bit inconsistent throughout the district because we allow teachers to make their own. And I've seen some where they come in and they mandatory have their phone put up, others do not. And so I'm asked, what is our policy? And I'm not unclear, I'm a little bit unclear exactly what it specifies or allows. So I'm going to ask for this because it's not under the student code to bring it back.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to bring it back. We'd have to vote it down.
No, this is under the handbook.
All right, okay,
It's under the
okay,
handbook,
all right.
so I'm off topic, so I'm gonna ask for it to be placed.
All right.
The discussion on cell phone use,
Yes,
Mr. Gonzalez, just exactly what our policy states and how we enforce and all that for a future date.
Thank you, Trustee Alvarado. Any other comments or questions on this item?
I have a quick question. This was on the, is the student, I didn't have a chance to look through it all. Does it have in there addressing hair length? I know it's been brought up by the board members.
Again, the student code of conduct addresses discretionary and mandatory expulsions. When it comes to dress code, hair length is covered under the handbook.
Okay.
The handbook itself does not require board approval, only the student code of conduct is the one that requires board approval.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Sorry. Motion carries 7-0.
So the cell phone is not a board policy. Okay, so I don't even bring it back. I'll get with you on my own, just.
Yes, sir.
Just, I don't need, I would.
You're out of order,
I
Mr.
would-
Riley.
Well, I'll withdraw that request, put it back on the agenda.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Back in order. Items B, C, 2, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. McAllen ISD Board of Trustees annually approve the appraisal calendar specifying the time frame in which teacher appraisals must occur.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any comments or questions on this item?
Straightforward.
All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Item number C3, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The McAllen ISD Board of Trustees approve annually the list of certified teacher appraisers.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on the item? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Dr. Gonzalez, item number 9C4.
The district has had a direct agreement since 2008 with local primary care clinic to provide primary care to the district medical plan covered members at negotiated rates to the self-funded plan and at reduced office visit copay to members. This RFQ was advertised to explore the possibility of expanding the network of directly contracted local providers, and the district has agreed on terms for continuation of services with the McAllen Preventive Care Institute. I know I have Andy here and Todd. Any questions
Any
on this
questions or
particular
comments
item?
on this item for Mr. Silva?
I'm going to excuse myself on this matter, President.
Let the record reflect that trustee Alvarado has excused himself, even left the room for discussion on this item. Any questions for Mr. Silva?
This is for the clinics, right? Yeah, I move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
You called for action.
Yes, I did. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0-1. 9C5, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The administration reviews all positions to maximize operational efficiencies. We have identified the Department of Technology requires an executive director for technology, and this position is responsible for the overall management of the Department of Technology and strategic planning of technology systems district-wide, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any comments or questions on this item? Trustee Aliceda.
Just in light of, are we still going to need this position if we have a position even I know there's some other districts in the area that have like associate superintendents or assistant superintendents in charge of not instructional technology as a whole. I know there's conversations maybe of doing a position like that. So would we need this position, or would we
Yes, ma'am. We believe that an executive director in this position, given the complicated nature of technology and all the things we've learned, especially over the last couple of months, that the district could definitely benefit from an executive director that could come in and bring in expertise to restructure the program, restructure the department, and then at that point would have somebody to report to.
Okay.
Any comments? Trustee Saldívar.
And maybe I misunderstood. But we've heard early on that they have it at this position overseen at a much higher level than at a director's. It was an assistant superintendent. And we had an assistant superintendent who left, and that is vacant. And your intention was not to replace. I understand. But given what we've faced and what we've heard, and what we have come to know, might it be better to elevate this to an assistant superintendent versus a director? And then, because there are some concerns not discussed tonight in which decisions were being made that didn't come to you, but were handled by someone else, it might have been better if it was an assistant superintendent and dealing directly with you with the technology. I'm not buying or selling, I'm just, following up on.
Yeah, and
Trustee
internalizing the
Alicevich.
question, I think the answer would be both. I think that we would benefit from an assistant or associate on top of an executive director. I think if we had a structure like that, not to say that, just to answer the question, the first thing that comes to mind right now is that we need an executive director, much like the executive director for facilities maintenance and operation, and then that individual reports to an assistant superintendent. I think the nature and the magnitude of our technology and what we need to do in that arena would definitely require an executive director and potentially an assistant superintendent down the road.
Thank you, sir.
Being that it's such a huge job, how many days are we posting, and how hard are we going to be looking?
It'd be the normal 10-day posting, and we'll see what the type of applicant pool that we get.
And that is the normal practice. Now, if in those 10 days, Mr. President, sorry, if in those 10 days, we're not happy with the applicants, what happens then?
I would stop
When I
and
say
read-
we, I say the staff, not us.
Yeah, I'd say we take a second look at the job description, make sure that's not too tight, make sure it's got exactly what we need, which we believe it does. Excuse me, and then we would repost, casting that out again.
Question, Mr. President.
Trustee Esparza.
How does this job description compare with similar positions in districts our size and so forth?
This particular job description, we looked at multiple job descriptions in developing it, sir, if I may list those. The previous job description for the Executive Director of Technology, TASB job description for Executive Director of Technology, Edinburgh CISD's job description for Assistant Superintendent of Technology, and also there's a consortium for school networking job description for Executive Director of Technology, so a wide range of job description for this position.
And so you pulled a little bit from everything, or
Yes.
looked for similarities, or?
Yes, sir. Which is common practice, we benchmark other job descriptions.
I do have a follow-up.
Trustee Saldívar. I'm
Thank-
sorry.
I'm done. Thank you. Again, given what we have recently witnessed, were all of those issues of responsiveness by this position and this individual that will be hired to do this, be able to address all those concerns and be held responsible for those corrections?
Yes, sir.
So all of them have been addressed. Thank you.
Further questions? Any more comments or questions on this item?
No, sir.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Gonzalez, moving on to item number 9C6.
Yes, sir. The district has negotiated a service and equipment agreement with the County of Hidalgo, and the agreement outlines all services required for the TRE and includes the use of the county's electronic software voting system, and we are requesting action on this item.
So move.
Second.
It's It's been moved and seconded as item. Any questions or comments?
Just a quick question, sir.
Trustee Alvarado.
Mr. Miller, we had that meeting was today with the county in regards to the machines?
No, it's tomorrow morning.
It's tomorrow
sir.
morning.
Tomorrow
Okay.
morning and tomorrow afternoon.
Awesome. Okay.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by
I
saying
believe, Mr. Esparza.
Does the contract indicate the dates and times and locations and all that? It has all that information? Voting locations?
It does. Bear with me just one moment, please.
Oh, yeah, here they are. I found it.
It's the same. My house, your house.
Let the record reflect that was Conrad Alvarado that made
With
that
the
comment.
joke. I'm taking after the president
Not
with
my
the
house.
jokes.
Typical like.
mine are funny.
That's true. That's true. Mine aren't.
That's all the questions I have. And I'll be abstaining. I'll be abstaining.
All right,
When was the last day to register to vote for the TRA? Probably
Okay,
August 9th.
Okay.
So your kid didn't register. If you just don't want to-
all right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect that trustee Esparza has abstained from voting on this item, so the vote would be 6-0-1. Dr. Gonzalez, 9. Where are we now?
D2.
Okay, moving on to D1.
We already did that, sir?
Yes, sir.
And we
D2.
did.
We covered that.
Wait. 91, we did?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my bad.
That was
We're on
Lincoln.
92, oh, my bad. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We would like to acknowledge the PTO at Fields Elementary for the donation of 2 canopies. We appreciate their generosity very much, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. On this item, any comments or questions?
They're very nice.
Principal Rosie Guerra, appreciate you coming in on short notice.
Very short.
We ought to ask her at least one question for coming in, right? Are you satisfied with the monetary donations? Thank you.
Actually, I was going to ask a question. That's just a portion of it, right? Those canopies couldn't have cost that small amount, right?
So what we're doing is,
Oh.
Oh,
See, it's important. for you
because
to be-
I need the name of them for other.
What, you
for
know, that's
other
good.
PT.
That's a good catch. Good catch.
Yeah.
yes, so 2 of those will be purchased with our activity account, principal's account.
Nice.
And then 2 of those will be purchased by PTO donation.
Nice.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Nice try, Debbie.
Yeah.
Kudos to your PTO for
Yeah.
coming up with that.
thank you.
That's
They work
awesome.
hard on this project, so thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so much. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. All right, going on to 9D3. I'm sorry, we did that one also. 9D4, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. We are recommending approval of the July 2017 budget amendment for the 2018-2019 fiscal year.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Going on to item 9D5, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The Public Funds Investment Act, the Texas Government Code, Chapter 2256, governs local government investment and requires the governing body or its designation investment committee no less than annually to review, revise, and adopt a list of qualified broker-dealers authorized to engage in investment transactions.
All right, any comments or questions on this item?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, I'm sorry, any opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Item 9D6, Dr. Gonzalez.
The resolution lists the independent sources who provide investment training sessions related to investment responsibilities as well as the investment officers for the district.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Gonzalez, 9D7.
Yes, sir. The Public Funds Investment Act requires each local government to have a written investment policy in place that complies with the Public Funds Investment Act, Government Code 2256.005C. An annual review of the district's investment policy and strategy must be documented by a formal action of the Board of Trustees. And this action would also record any changes made to either the policy or strategies.
Any comments or questions on this item?
So did anything change from years past on how we're doing things?
Since this wasn't a legislative year, we did not have changes. We did make changes last year as a result of legislative action.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of this item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. 9D8, Dr. Gonzalez.
The Education Code, Section 44.004, requires a meeting notice for the budget and proposed tax rate for school districts. Prior to the notice being published, the board must decide on the public meeting date and vote on a proposed tax rate that will be published in the notice of public meetings to discuss proposed tax rate.
There's 3 items, A, B, and C.
Yes, I think we have to take them one at a time. Is that correct, Mr.
That's
Crane?
correct.
So we will be voting on 9D8-1. Is there,
Well, A, if the tax ratification election passes, the Board of Trustees vote on the proposed tax rate of $1.55 for maintenance and operations and 0 for debt service be published notice of public meetings.
$1.15.
$1.15, I'm sorry.
And a half.
Yeah, I missed it.
So is that your motion?
Yes, that's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this part of the item? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Going on to 9D8-2.
Item B,
B. It was, he clarified 115.
115.
115.
Yeah, I
yes.
clarified it. Yeah. Contact, sir.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, okay.
I move that we approve item B.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this item? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Want to make it 3 in a row?
I move that the Board of Trustees authorize administrative staff to publish no later than September 13, 2018, the notice of public meetings to discuss proposed tax rate on September 25, 2018. That's the motion.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh, it's fine.
That's fine.
Comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Dr. Gonzalez, 9D9.
Yes, sir. The district solicited statements of qualifications for the selection of the collection of delinquent taxes attorney services. Staff is recommending interviews scheduled for August 20th, and we are requesting action on the approval of ranking.
I have a question.
Trustee Aliceda.
Section 4.1, compensation. The district shall pay the firm as compensation for delinquent tax collection services under this agreement is blank percentage. Can we mandate that we want that percentage to be? I know there's a limit, we can't go any further, but can we say you must collect at no higher than 8%, 9%?
You can try that, but they have to agree to it. That would be below the statutory limit.
And the limit is 15, is that
I
correct?
believe the limit's 15. Or maybe 20, it's 15 or 20.
I believe it's 15.
Maximum is 20, I think. The maximum is 20.
And what are we currently?
They bid 15.
So,
We're currently at 15.
So the vendor comes to us and says they're okay with 15. We don't go to them and say we want it at 10, 12. So can we say we want 12 and whoever gives us 12, they get our business? Is that, can you
It wouldn't work
say in
like
here
that.
12? And then if they want, whoever wants to apply, they apply?
Well, they've already applied, is my understanding, right?
Yes, they've both submitted their fees, and at this time, they're both equal. So the only thing that we could do would be to, during the negotiation process, negotiate a lower percentage.
So we gave them this contract and we never put in our own limit?
We did not list the dollar amount. I'm sorry,
The percentage amount?
You first have to rank based on quality of service.
Right.
And once you rank based on quality of service, then you get to the second part of discussing fees.
So it's too late? We missed that?
Not necessarily, no.
I guess my question is, how can we say we want a certain, does the committee get together and decide that? Do I make a
I
motion?
think that'd be the board, would after you rank number one, then whoever you rank number one with, you start negotiation of being number one, and if you can't reach an agreement with number one, then you go on to the second rank firm and negotiate with them.
Okay.
For purposes, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
For purposes of this one, all we're doing for right now, there's two firms, Lineberger and Purdue. You recommended for us to interview them, so we're just approving that, and then
Yes.
we'll interview them next week.
Well, yes, we'll bring back the firms on the 20th,
Okay.
on your approval.
Okay, I so moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve. Any questions or comments?
So we're not approving any ranking because it says approval of
It's
ranking.
the
There's-
preliminary ranking because administration has to do a ranking based on the criteria that's advertised in the RFQ.
Right.
And then the final ranking will be based on the interviews, and that will be done by the board on the 20th.
But it says ranking that they're equal. That's what you said, right? And this.
When we did and we were very intentional, we looked at every single criteria. The items that were submitted, the committee was very thorough with the evaluation, and the firms came out equal.
Okay.
All right. All right. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Gonzalez, 9D10.
Yes, sir. The district purchases postage for the Pitney Bowes mailing system for the district's outgoing mail on an as-needed basis.
Any comments or questions on this item?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on this item?
I'm curious, just for they don't upmark the price of the use of the postal service. How do they make their?
No, well, we rent the machine
Oh,
from them, we lease
got
the
it.
machine from them.
Got it. That's the question.
Nothing's free, Papa.
And they get a rate from the post office, and they keep the spread. I mean, yeah,
That's
but
it.
it's still a reduced rate to
Yeah.
the district.
Yeah. But that's it?
That's how it works. Okay.
Yes.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. And all those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. 9D11, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district utilizes this interlocal contract available through Region 1 Purchasing Co-op as an additional resource for the acquisition of goods and services for students and staff on an as-needed basis.
All right, any comments or questions on this item?
I'll move for action.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. 9D12, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district utilizes this interlocal cooperative agreement for the purchase of materials, services, training, consulting services for programs such as the At-Risk Management Fund on an as-needed basis.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved. Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. 9D13, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district solicited offers for the scoreboard sponsorship, and the offer was rescinded.
Just a quick question. Who's Lucy Franco again?
It's a clothing retailer in town.
They were a small one,
Very-
right?
It's a small business.
Like 4,000, no, it
Oh,
was a
yes, it was a 4,000.
4,000 one. Okay, so moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Items E1, approval of Board of Education meeting minutes. Dr. Gonzalez? I'm sorry, that's mine. Administration asks that the board consider approval of the attached minutes. We are requesting action on this item. Board workshop of May 29th, 2018. A regular board meeting of May 29th, 2018. A special board meeting of May 29, 2018. Board workshop June 4th, 2018. Board workshop June 11th, 2018. And a special board meeting of June 11th, 2018. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the previous mentioned board meetings and workshops. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to item E2, which is the endorsement of candidate for Texas Association of School Boards, TASB, Board of Directors, District 1, Position A. The board may choose to endorse either Patricia Ocaña Olivares of Mission ISD or Oscar Riojas of Mercedes ISD to the Texas Association of School Boards Board of Directors, District 1, Position A. Normally, we would do this by a handwritten, or we want to do it out loud, or whatever.
So what happens if one candidate wins, they get all our votes, or do we?
Mr. Crane, do you remember?
It's the
We
board
endorse one
endorse-
candidate,
The board endorses one
So we
candidate.
had to vote, what, we had to vote for one?
so, yes. Mr. Suarez?
I move that we vote for Ms. Patty Ocaña.
Second.
It's on,
I'm sorry, is this a nomination or an
no, it's
endorsement?
just an endorsement.
Endorsement, I second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded that the McAllen ISD Board of Trustees endorse Patricia Ocaña Olivares for TASB Board of Directors, District 1, Position A. Any comments or questions on this item?
Yes, Mr. President, she is the current holder of this position representing our area.
All right. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. We are down to item E3, approval of travel for Board of Trustees. Policy requires that board members to submit travel requests to the board in advance when practical. The board plans to attend TASB, TASA convention on September 28th through September 30, 2018 in Austin, Texas. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further
Just
discussion?
a question, how many of us are going?
I may. I told Natalie to sign up, but there's a deadline to cancel, and so I told her I'd let her
And
know.
I only say, because we have, the next item agenda is we need a delegate and a assistant, so an alternate, as long as you guys are,
They're volunteer.
that's right, then we'll vote for you.
All right. All those in
I
favor
said
of the
I may
item?
not be going.
All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Item E4, appointment of board members to serve as delegate and alternate at the annual TASB Delegate Assembly
Who's the
meeting.
delegate?
The board may choose to appoint 2 board members to serve as delegate and
retired.
alternate at the annual TASB Delegate Assembly, on the 29th of September.
I'll move, I'm looking at you, Larry, but I'm not going to do
Are
it
you
to you.
going-
I
you're not
move that
going?
we nominate trustee Sam Santivad for the delegate.
Who?
Mr. Sam.
Oh, Larry really wanted it.
No, Mr. Sam's retired. He's got
If Larry
time.
really.
No, because I, that's why I told Natalie when she made the reservation.
It's been moved. Is
I
there a
may or may
second?
not be going.
Second.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Oh, and I'm sorry, the alternate would be Mr. Florina, the delegate. Or do you want to vote separate on that?
That was your original amendment.
I'll amend it to reflect that Mr. Sam Santivad is the delegate and the alternate is Mr. Florina.
All right. Amendment accepted. All those in favor of the item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. I want Larry there.
Motion carries 6-1.
Larry, are you sure you're not going?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure, that's why I'm saying.
Schedule of future
Mr.
meetings.
President, before we go to that next item,
Thank you.
just want a point of information on page 5983, the sign language interpreter services. Y'all did not take action on that item. Do you wish to take action on that item?
It's not on our 593?
Page
983.
983.
It's the one you had questions about, the out of town.
Oh, we voted on it.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Oh, we
No
didn't.
action taken.
Okay.
No action. I asked that.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries
Mr.
7.
President, I'll be abstaining from that vote.
Let the record reflect that trustee Esparza has abstained from voting on this item. The vote was 6-0-1. Schedule of future meetings, August 27th, special board meeting at 4 p.m. Administration Building, Boardroom. August 27th, a regular board meeting beginning at 5 PM, be held at the Boardroom, Administration Building. August 27th, a special board meeting to begin at 6:15 in the Boardroom at the Administration Building. Item number 11, closed session. The Board of Trustees may reconvene in closed session for further discussion regarding the agenda items listed. So at 9:16.
Mr. President? The August 20th interviews with the delinquent tax attorneys is not listed on our schedule of future meetings. Should we add that?
It is.
It's on the bottom.
My bad, I missed it. Yeah.
Oh,
It's-
on his.
It's on there, I'm
Okay.
at it. Special board meeting, August 20th, 2018, at 5:30 PM to have the tax attorney interviews, and then at also another meeting, August 27th, at 3:30 PM, a level 3 grievance hearing.
What
Okay.
time is the 20th, sir? I don't remember.
5:30.
5:30.
Okay. All right, closed session, the Board of Trustees may reconvene in closed session for further discussion regarding the agenda items listed. We will be going into closed session at 9:17 PM. 10:04 PM, we are reconvening our 5 o'clock regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees. And at this time, I'd entertain a motion to, pardon me, before you, by the way, there was no action taken in closed session, and at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn, sir.
It's been moved by trustee Farina
I'll second.
and seconded by trustee Alvarado to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye, Captain.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries at 10:05 PM. We are adjourned. Thank you,
Martha,
gentlemen
I
and
have a-
lady.